All right. And we are live. The last word, LordCognito, Ebontis, Ty Guy Travis, that Thursday evening campfire that I love. What's going on, gents? E, we'll start with you first. How's life, man? What's been going on with you, man?
That's pretty good. Computer is dry, so that's always a good thing.
You scared us. You scared us for a minute, bro.
I'm lucky enough to be able to make jokes. I got to throw them out there.
Can someone in the community make that Call of Duty Modern Warfare "Hey No Russian" meme where they're in the elevator? Can we do it except for "Hey No Spills"? Can somebody make that and just post it every time E promotes the show? Just "Hey No Spills."
Hey No Spills.
Yeah, let's make that a thing.
I'm doing pretty good. Just had a little bit of dinner. Good. I think we're all kind of settling in. But so far pretty chill. I'm literally like trying to figure out like video organization because I want to jump into Guardians because more and more people I know, like a buddy of mine who like doesn't usually will usually skip the stories actually enjoying Guardians. So it's like that's kind of the one that's on my radar and kind of seeing where things are coming. But that's my next if I can squeeze it in. But for now that's kind of where I'm at. Travis, what are you playing, reviewing, or trying to squeak in a match or two of Destiny if you can?
Yeah, actually crazy story this week. Not a crazy story, but unexpected news is that I played a ton of Destiny this past weekend because I finally got my girlfriend to play through Forsaken with me before it goes away. So we played through all Forsaken. And here's the kicker. She liked Forsaken a lot and is now hooked on Destiny. And is like playing it when I'm not playing it. Like, I'm going to log out of Destiny real quick. And I'm like, oh man, this is the start of something dangerous.
Lady Ty Guy is going to be climbing the trials charts.
Actually, her gamer tag is Ty Girl Travis.
That's
which
right.
Makes no sense.
Either Travis does different things on the week. Either Travis has a different job on the weekends, or it's his girlfriend.
You're botting.
You're Zuckerberging.
I sound bad to you guys.
You're in the metaverse. You're in the metaverse a little bit.
Metaverse.
You're out there.
I think it's good now. I think it's good.
Talk.
Test.
Yeah, you're back.
You're good.
You're back.
So I actually did all of my grinding for Festival of the Lost. I'm now completely done with that event. I caught up on some, seasonal artifact, or not seasonal artifact, seasonal, the weapon ornaments, missions and stuff like that. I actually played a ton of Gambit and Strikes, which you will be surprised to hear from me. It was a very productive Destiny week for me. But aside from that, I finished my review of my previous game. This week, I'm working on Riders Republic, the Ubisoft Extreme Sports open world game, which is basically kind of like a Forza Horizon clone.
Yeah.
But it's quite good. And then I also finished in one day the Guardians of the Galaxy game.
Oh, wow.
Which is like a pretty long game. But I binged that thing, dude. I really liked that game. It was, to me, it's like the sleeper hit of 2021. Like,
that's what everyone's
I think lots
saying.
of people, for whatever reason, were expecting that game to not be great, but it was. I couldn't put it down. I really, really enjoyed it, and think other people should play that game. So
you're like the fourth person.
Yeah. I was like, and I think the thing, at least from what I saw from Guardians of the Galaxy, still holds true from pretty much most of the reviews, is the combat is fine. From what I've gathered, it doesn't it
didn't bother me.
I was like, when I saw it before, it just seemed kind of like, okay, like it. And again, from what I saw, that's like, it is better than the, it's the sum of its parts are better than the pieces. Like from when I read the story, the art, and all that stuff, like really, really good pieces. Combat is not the highest piece of the puzzle, is the best way I can phrase that. So that still holds up to what I saw, but like the fact that people are raving about everything else still makes it worth it. It sounds like.
So the combat thing. To me, this game really reminds me of Uncharted 3, right? Where it's really about the energy and the story and the comedy and the characters, and you're having fun while you're playing it, even when the combat isn't that good. And I would describe the combat in Uncharted 3 as not being particularly good, but it serves the purpose. It has that energy of like silliness and goofiness while you're doing it, and you're kind of just like, it doesn't matter if the shooting's a little sloppy, like the characters are talking and the banter and the action and stuff like that. And so the combat in Guardians of the Galaxy isn't like amazing where you're like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever, but it's so silly and the characters are talking throughout it that I didn't even really notice the combat. I was just sort of like having fun in it, and You do these team huddles where you get the team to come together, and then you play a song on your cassette player.
They're really going into
the music plays during the combat.
I've heard those are terrible.
Yeah, all your characters are more powerful while you're as long as the song lasts. So they're going by Strip Club rules, I guess. One song's worth of power up. But yeah, it's quite good.
Some
man.
people had a whoosh moment right there. I'm pretty sure that. What's that mean? Google. Anyway, moving past that awkward conversation. Cognito, how you been, sir? What have you been up to?
Been good, man.
Besides popping up on that live show.
Yeah, man. I've been, hitting it up. Still on my Destiny vacation outside of trials. I'm on my vacation still. So it's all Disco Elysium all day, every day. And I'm thoroughly addicted to that. It scratches my detective need. He's literally the worst detective ever. And I love it. It's fun. He's learning about himself while he's trying to do a case. I highly recommend it. It's the funniest game. I'm thoroughly entertained with this game. I got I've been blazing, man, like 15, 20 hours already.
Nice.
And I just can't wait to get back into it.
And you did a custom build. So is your character kind of stupid?
No, he's actually a very intellectually and strong guy, but his motorics are terrible. His hand-eye coordination.
He's like a clumsy, he's like Mr. Magoo.
Yeah. He's just that kind of thing. But he's very precise. I could visualize certain things and stuff like that. But it's really good. There are a lot of hardcore RPG things on checks and stuff like that. I love it, man.
Are you a sorry cop? What kind of cop are you?
I think it's
Superstar cop.
I think I'm leaning into artsy cop or something. Something like about arts or something. Yeah, because I'm like running around on walls, painting stuff. I'm doing all type of crazy stuff.
The thing I love about that game is anyone you talk to, they have completely different experiences. One guy who played that game told me he just did like a full strength and motor and it was just the stupidest cop ever. And apparently that way of playing the game is one of the best ways.
Best ways to do it.
Full idiot. Yeah, full brawn idiot. But yeah, I need to get back to playing it, but I love that game so much.
Fully voice acted, excellent game. But enough for me. We got this very patient and special guest that's been here that we got to bring in, right? E? So let's
hold
do this
on,
thing, man.
God. Stream probably just the.
Oh,
I have no idea what's going on. Like,
you want to move the Discord server? Maybe it's one.
No, you guys are mostly fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's just connection to YouTube for me tonight. It's my upload speed, and I'm still fighting with it. There's an issue that's going on. I've had techs out multiple times again.
It's back.
Yeah, it's back. So we're gonna get it going. Well, I wanted to at least make sure everybody could hear this thing. So here we go.
For sure.
Welcome to the last word, number 171. As our time with purple pumpkins and spooky sounds are coming to an end, it wouldn't be right to leave without the ever-evolving meta being in the discussion. We just wrapped up another experiment with Saint 14, and we're all a bit curious where the dust will settle with Osiris. Quiet times may be coming for the next month in Destiny, but we aren't too far away from a pirate's booty and the return of the OG exotic drop. Our guest this week has seen the ebbs and flows of this universe we are all wrapped up in for quite some time now, but the controller was in his hand for many years. While his time as a rodent on PlayStation got him started, adventure is what really called his name. And exploring what the world has to offer really doesn't seem to be his nature. Taking a chance, trying something new isn't ever easy, but as the tides can change, this man is willing to move with them. Taking his success of embracing memes and now making a career out of it, I have enjoyed this man's journey through the internet. Also, I almost forgot, please send all things tank related to his Twitter handle. So let's welcome the community manager for Poorly Timed Games, also community manager and writer for the Destiny Tracker website, a man with Phil Spencer on his friends list and recent Fire Team member who is waiting for Benji to stop tweeting about Ias Luna, the boss of the Inverted Spire Strike, a modular mind of the Vex, and the only boss who has ever been called Swole in Destiny. The one, the only, Protheon. How are you doing, sir?
That might have been the best intro I've ever received in my entire life. That was amazing.
We try, so we are very happy to have you. How have you been? What have you been up to? What are you doing? You've been busy. I know that. So
yeah, I've been good. All year really. I've kind of just with COVID, just hanging out at home, doing stuff while I can, trying to stay busy. But past few months, I've been extremely busy. I recently got promoted at Destiny Tracker as a writer and kind of working more with the community on that side. And I've been having a good time doing that. And 2 weeks ago, a little over 2 weeks ago, I received a position at Poorly Timed Games, which is a game studio making a new game called Grim Tranquility. The CEO of the company actually worked at Bungie. His name is Chris Wright, and it's been a quite a fun experience doing that. And my life has gotten very busy the past 2 weeks, but I'm really grateful for it.
That's
Nice.
awesome, man. Well, we are definitely happy to have you, but we got to get to know you a little bit. So as I mentioned, kind of, you've been gaming for a while. I don't exactly know how old you are, but certain, mascots definitely bring up a little bit of age. So I know you've been around the block for gaming, but what are your major standouts in gaming for your gaming history, things that got you hooked, things that have a special place? Just, what are the big points? I mean, outside of our big topic and game of discussion, but what are the games that make you who you are?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been playing video games ever since I was a little kid, but the first one that really stuck with me was Halo 2, Halo 3. I didn't have an Xbox at the time, but I would go to friends' houses and we would play Halo all day.
Nice.
We would repeat story missions, do multiplayer online, everything. And then I got an Xbox, I think 2010, which is when Halo Reach came out. And I still think that is the game with the most hours ever. So
more than Destiny.
I think it's still more than Destiny. I think Destiny's coming close, but I was in Halo every day, making maps and Forge, custom games.
Nice.
I would do the campaign on easy, and then medium, and then hard, and then legendary, and I'm like, all right, let's do that again.
Well, you Bungie simp, you.
I know, I am a
Yeah.
Bungie simp, 100%.
Love it, man. Tremendous. So it's
Yeah, so
I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah, so I mean, when because I am a Bungie simp, when they announced that they were making Destiny, I was like, have to try that, right? And it's kind of been Destiny ever since. I've been experimenting with more games here and there, but I still consider myself like a Destiny main, playing wise.
No doubt. Yeah, I was gonna ask you because obviously the Halo in the first person, it's like the natural transition, right? For guys to go into Destiny, but you also have what I consider that single player background as well. You have this unique combination of loving single player games. What are some of those type of single player titles that really kind of got your heartstrings and into gaming and loving that genre?
Yeah, so the Telltale Walking Dead series I really enjoyed. It didn't look the best. Yeah, I don't even know when season 1 came out.
It wasn't the greatest, but the stories.
Yeah,
so
the
indie,
story
though.
was it was so indie. It was amazing. That game made me cry. I think that was the first game that made me cry.
Bro, the story with Lee at the end. That got me, man. That was tough. The Clementine and Lee story. I agree. And I just, not to cut you, but it's just it's one of those things that you could tell it was new. The genre was new, right? But they kind of hit a gold mine and then they kind of set off a whole chain of games because of it. But I do agree with you. I think that was kind of the key as far as really putting them on the map. I agree with you big time on that story.
Yeah, and I was kind of nervous
remastered them all, by the way, all those seasons.
Nice.
Yes, they did.
Nice.
I'm planning on playing it through again, but I need to be emotionally stable if I want to do that. I'll be honest.
Fair enough. So what other single player games you get? Walking Dead?
So also Red Dead Redemption. I really enjoyed Mass Effect.
Which Mass Effect was your favorite?
We're powering
Mass
up
Effect
here,
set?
Cog.
We're powering up.
Mass Effect 2 is my favorite.
My mate, listen,
You're welcome back
VIP
anytime.
access to the last word at
You picked the right one.
This is a man of culture. Do you understand
That's
this? Do you understand it?
Fine
Please tell the
taste.
people. Yes, please tell the people why Mass Effect 2 is your favorite Mass Effect. I must hear this. Preach the gospel, sir.
Honestly, the gameplay was pretty good, but the story is just incredible. It's just an incredible story from beginning to end.
Fair enough.
Right.
Man,
Suicide Mission, baby.
Yeah.
Let's
Has
get
there
it.
ever been
more
a better
single player
moment game
games?
than Suicide
Yeah.
Mission?
Yeah, for sure. More single player games recently. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I love.
Ooh,
So good.
so good, so good.
Underrated.
Yeah,
Yes.
very underrated. It came out late 2019, right? Something
Yeah,
like that.
it like
Yeah,
missed
couple years
the Game Awards,
Game
and
Awards.
stuff like that, and it should have been in there. And
People forgot about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was like, and stuff like that happens. It's never going to get in the next year. It's like too far gone. But no,
Yeah.
I have a theory
Yeah.
though. I think they did it on purpose. I think there's games now that, as a tactic, avoid the award season so that they don't have to get caught up in that. And one example of it this year, Halo Infinite. After the awards, because it's a lose-lose. If Halo Infinite doesn't win Game of the Year, people are like, oh, Halo's a failure. It wasn't Game of the Year, right? But if they can just avoid that conversation altogether, then I think they win. And I honestly think
I
it
can
was
see
a
that.
part of their
Interesting.
decision.
Interesting. Yeah,
I
man.
doubt
I-
that
I-
really goes big into release date choices. But you know, conspiracy theories are fun.
I bet you it's part of it. Like, I bet you some games plan around
Chad's like his
wanting to just
conspiracy
avoid
theories.
that.
I was gonna say, when it comes to like the financial decisions and all the other things that go in, if it's in there, it is the smallest piece of any pie. It's just a guess.
Well,
But
I
the
think
Game
part of
Awards,
the-
I don't think choose when Halo is going to get really. Phil Spencer's like, hold
part
on, excuse me, Jeff. Jeff, when's the Game Awards? I want to be the day after, just to clarify. There's this 20th anniversary and everything else. That's not important, but Jeff Keighley, we gotta square this away.
I don't think it's the Game Awards. It's controlling the narrative on the marketing side. And part of that narrative is like the Game of the Year discussions. That's like a huge part of the year. And I think that the industry is starting to like recognize that. And so there's like this window in December after nominations are over where you can sort of slip by that conversation. So I think the marketing team has more power than you might think. And you can bet that they're looking at things like Metacritic and the Game Awards and how that affects their narrative of whether they're winning or losing. And Halo has such like an incredibly high bar. I think that if there's any game that's like looking at that sort of stuff and figuring out how they can, not have the highest expectations ever. But
So as a big
Marketing.
Halo fan, Senior Protheon, how is everything shaping up as of late? Are you on the hype train full bore? Is anything question marks? Are you just like 10 out of 10, let's do this?
So when the first gameplay trailer, whatever that was, showcase last year,
yeah,
I was like, yeah, this looks fun. Like, obviously the art didn't look great, but I was like, it's Halo. I just want a new Halo. So I was all right with it already.
Yeah.
And then they said they were delaying it, and I'm like, okay, that just put the expectations from here to here.
Right.
Like, if they're going to delay it by over a year, then now my expectations are pretty high. And when I played the beta, I had an absolute blast, and I cannot wait for that game to be out.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's go.
Like,
That's what I'm talking
right.
about.
I do want to ask one question for all three on here, because I know all three of you are much bigger Halo people than I am. Campaign trailer dropped about 6 minutes.
Yes.
Got to see some stuff. As for the big question, I would say the kind of like question marks I've seen from one or two places. The Outpost open world system, do you guys think it will land? Do you guys think, what do you think? That's a question I'm curious, the big fans, I'm curious your thoughts on.
Let's get our esteemed guest first.
Yes.
Protheon, what you thinking, man? Open world Halo.
So I actually have a quick question. Is this like confirmed that it's only going to be these outpost type missions, or do we still not know?
No.
No.
Yeah, we
Okay,
still don't
because
know.
my
It's
theory
almost
is that
certainly
there's
not going to be the Outpost mission.
Yeah, they're still
Ma-
withholding a lot, it feels like. Continue.
my theory is that like there's still like the core of Halo are like those long, lengthy missions that have like a very certain structure. I feel like that's still going to be in the game, and that this open world aspect is just going to be more so in addition to that. That's my theory. Like, say a campaign mission, you go from point A to point B. Now you unlock extra missions in point B, but there's still a storyline from B to C, if that makes sense.
Okay, I think I see.
That's kind of my theory. I'm down with it. I trust 343 Industries to try something new. Am I skeptical? Yeah, but I'm still down.
Nice.
No, I feel you.
Travis,
I'll jump
you
in.
seem-
Oh, I'm
oh,
sorry.
no,
Go ahead, Travis.
Cog,
No.
no.
I
Travis just
mean,
said yes, so he may have had his
next.
already.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I mean, me and Maddie talked about it, and it's weird because I'm in this weird mindset where I have like open world game fatigue. But with Halo, I'm like, I've never seen Halo like this. You know what I'm saying? And there is a part of me that, I agree with Protheon in the sense that I think that, there may be a nice, hopefully a healthy balance of, going through the map. Shout out to the cops going by. Going through the map and everything, and seeing what's going on. My concern is different. My concern is not the outpost thing. My concern is more of the biome thing. I want to see more diverse areas. I'm not saying they don't exist, but like, let's say they had a snow area or they had a desert area. I don't want the whole thing to just be, jungle outside kind of thing.
Magical ring fortress.
Right.
Or forest.
You know what I mean? Now, I did hear there are different things. I hear you can go down in caves. I heard there's, different stuff. So there probably will be. And if there's not an abundance of the biomes, my other theory is that because it's kind of following pseudo Destiny with, live service, kind of like ongoing 10-year planned game, that my guess is they will add their Europa, you know what I'm saying? Or their, because we from Destiny, we know how that goes with future content and stuff like that. But no, I'm excited. I think it's Halo. The sandbox is amazing. The things you can do look so fun. The grappling hook. And for me personally, the only thing from Halo 5 that I missed was the thrust. And when I saw the thrust is back, and as a customer, so now bro. So I love the idea of a customizable Master Chief. That excites me on, even if it's on minute level. But Charles, what you think after everything you saw? Like, how you with this thing, man?
Yeah, I think people are being really pessimistic about this, and just generally speaking, my reaction is people are just not. Halo's like it's a sacred cow, right? Like a lot of people have a hard time touching
That's our baby.
it. So, but personally, my opinion when I saw it was I thought it's brilliant, and that 343 is way ahead of where other people are, and I don't think people understand what they're trying to do yet. Because for me, that moment where you touch down on the Halo ring in Combat Evolved, and you open up that kind of semi-open world on that first level, that was so informative. I feel like my brain gained so many wrinkles on that day because it kind of like changed what I thought a game could be. And I just had so much fun, even though it was only those 3 little areas you go to and you take them out. But it kind of like opened up this idea of like what gaming can be. And I think they're embracing that. They've said that this is like a soft reboot. And I think an idea where you're on a Halo ring and you're just exploring and doing stuff, and then in between that you have main kind of missions. Yeah. Like that's like me what they should have been doing at like Halo 4, right?
I feel you.
And Halo games have become more and more linear over time. Like if you go back and you play Combat Evolved 2 Betrayals, that level is crazy. Like the amount of stuff you can do and places you can go. And over the years they've gotten more and more kind of just like shooter hallways like Call of Duty, right? Halo 4 is the worst one in terms of like how much it just limits where you can go and what you can do and focuses you on the campaign. And I think they're trying to do the opposite to that. I think people who compare it to like Far Cry are completely missing the fact that like this is a Halo game. Like Far Cry's biggest problem is that the gunplay has never been amazing, right? Like it's sort of just like a generic shooter, and its advantage is that it's over the top and has an open world. Halo is on a whole different level, and if they could turn that into a semi-open world game with side quests and all that and RPG elements like you said, Cog, I think that's like that will turn out to be like the Breath of the Wild of the Halo series. I think people will be like, wow, why wasn't Halo like this years ago?
Like this a long time ago, years.
Yeah, why didn't they do this so long ago? And the other thing is that we already know there's going to be multiple campaigns inside Halo Infinite because they've said it before. There's already 2 campaigns
long,
in the game.
Multiple year plan. Sounded like Destiny when they said a 10-year. I was like, oh god.
Yeah, and two of them have sort of been leaked already, but it's not to the extent of Destiny. You know, Destiny tries to combine it all. Halo's going to have the campaign ongoing and then a separate app that's the multiplayer, and they don't really compete with each other. But I have a ton of thoughts on these. I'm actually going to be talking about. I'm going to be doing like a Halo podcast with Ains later.
I got to listen. What y'all doing? Dude, Ains is so hardcore.
Yeah, he's very hardcore.
I love Ains on Halo. Yeah, you two will make a great podcast. I got to listen to that. Yeah.
So we're definitely going to be talking about this, but I'm like super passionate that this is the right way for Halo to be going. And I think people don't get it yet. And I think it'll take them a while to catch up. But I think once they get the game in the hands, there's a pretty good chance that they're just going to nail this thing and everybody's going to be like, damn.
Yeah. And
Why
just
why
wait
did they do
five-
this years ago?
Yeah,
Just
Protheon.
wait 5 years from now when they make the Halo content vault and Twitter goes crazy.
Yo, they're really
They're like, we're
mimicking
bringing
the
maps
plan.
from Halo 2. People are like, why are they making new maps?
yeah.
It's just a lose-lose, right?
There
We're
it is,
sunsetting
boy.
weapons now. The
If
DMR is getting sunset.
They're gonna sunset the battle rifle to
Here's
be
the thing,
on.
though. Here's the thing, Protheon. Halo already has a content vault. It's called the
You're
Master
right.
Chief Collection.
You're right. You're
And
exactly
good
right.
one.
if they move the old campaigns and throw them in Master Chief Collection, and that just becomes a 200 gigabyte game, I have no problem with that. Keep it
Yeah.
coming. You know what I mean? So that's what Destiny needs. Destiny needs a Destiny Guardian collection, and just make all their old campaigns available through that sort of app.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, I am so
Absolutely.
sorry I took us down the tangent of Halo.
No,
but
it's
as you are a
great.
big Halo fan, I did want to open it up. I just didn't know I was going to open it quite that wide.
Sorry. Once you
No,
open
no,
the
no,
spigot
you're
for
good, you're
Halo,
good.
it just comes flowing through.
It flows out.
What
Yeah,
I
can
wanted to
talk
ask,
more.
though, for you, at least for me as well, outside of gaming, your name, your emblem and everything, where was the origination, the choice for it? And then also you got to explain one or two of the jokes that have happened along the way,
Sure.
because those are entertaining.
Break it down.
Okay. Super long story short, right? I
that's
just
good.
wanted a gaming themed Twitter so I didn't bother my real life friends, right? I didn't want them to be bothered by all my posts and all that stuff. So I saw, this is way back in like 2014, 2015, I saw Twitter accounts that were just like random Destiny things. And I'm like,
Mhm.
sure, So I originally named mine Quodron, which is actually one of the Vex bosses in Prison of Elders.
In Prison of Elders, yes.
Yeah, and I wasn't really trying to like be a content creator then or anything. It was just the name, right? And then
Fex Warbite has arrived.
yeah, yes, exactly. That was pretty good actually.
Remember
I
when
love
the
him.
announcer would scream things at 5 times the normal volume whenever
Yes.
a new person would show? Access the betrayed! And you'd be like, Jesus, dude!
Yo,
throw your
Prison of
headset across the
Elders,
room.
bro. I love that. I think it was Varix's coming out party. He became a
Yeah,
star
dude.
to me. It was like, what is wrong with him? Like,
You could
why
tell.
Yeah. Good.
He likes certain bosses more than others. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Oh, for
Irish.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The defiled.
Yeah.
I used to have to
So,
take off my headphones when we'd be in. All right, he's about to
You're
start
right.
talking. I'm taking my headphones.
Good,
Yeah, so
good.
then Destiny 2 came around, or the beta came around, and I saw Protheon, who's the Inverted Spire beta strike. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just go with the times, right? So I just changed my name to that and embraced it, and I never changed it. And I just that's kind of how that started.
Ooh.
And then the Swotheon. So there was that bug that made Protheon 3 times as big.
Yes. Classic.
So some of the people that knew me tagged me in that post, and that's kind of where I got started, which is kind of a weird way to get started with where I am today. But I
Destiny does some weird origin stories. I've
yes,
heard.
Yeah.
so it's kind of weird that like my origin story of where I am now is a bug in a video game, but I mean I'll take it.
I love it.
Yeah, so I've just kind of embraced the name and everything about that. And then last year, like a week after Beyond Light came out and running some strikes, getting my power level up for the raid or whatnot, and I'm running the Inverted Spire strike, and I saw a Drake tank spawn, and I've never seen that before, ever. So I took a video of it, and I put it on Twitter, and I just said, hey, is this new? Like, I've never seen this before. Is this new with Beyond Light? Are they just adding like tanks to strikes? And about like 8 to 10 people commented like the exact same tweet. It just said, no, it's always been in the game. Like, you're stupid. Like, it's always
The
been.
disrespect.
It's just really, really rare.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like annoyed reading that out because I'm like, this is what I would do if I saw it. If I saw one person like comment that, I wouldn't say anything. I'm like, okay, that person gets it. I don't need to comment it again. So I quoted that tweet and I said, thanks for the 10 people who said, like, I get it. I didn't hear you the first 9 times. So then everyone thought it'd be funny to remind me forever, for the rest of my life, that there's a tank that spawns in the Inverted Spire, which is ironically the Protheon strike. So I still get posts of, hey, the tank spawned with screenshot and people tag.
Oh, they foul.
It never
they
ends.
petty. They petty.
I saw the tank today.
Yeah, exactly.
October
It's true.
27th, as
Never
I load into the Vanguard playlist tonight, we saw the inverted spire, and as I jumped off the cliff, I saw the tank below. I had to tweet Protheon.
Now we know your Halloween Twitter name, Rare Tank Spawn.
There you go.
It's
There
scary.
you
It's
I
very
like that.
scary.
I like
We
it.
Yeah.
found it.
Yeah, so now I call myself a tank enthusiast. So
That's what's up.
Have
man.
you driven
Funny
a tank in
story.
real life yet? I think you need to do this.
no, that's on my list of things to do. Like, ironically, I love tanks in video games, like the Scorpion tank in Halo. Not to like reopen that can of worms, but
That's right. That's right.
Reopen
No,
it.
you do that. No, you do
Reopen
that. You do that.
Yeah.
Just gonna go ahead.
You
most
should,
fun
dude,
tank in
embrace
any
it.
video.
You can have tank themed streams where you play games that feature tanks and you wear a tank
Good.
top. You
There
know,
you go. I'm done.
the possibilities
tank
are
top.
limitless.
I didn't think about that.
I'm done with him. He's out of. He's so loose right now. Question: being that we're on the subject of tanks, how did you feel when D1 had what is it? What mixed combat arena where they had the vehicles and like? How did you feel about that of D1?
Yeah, so I mean, coming from Halo, I was like, oh, this is like big team battle, and it kind of was, but kind of wasn't. It was kind of like strange, like a strange in between. I do want to
called
see
it
it
bad
return in
team
some
battle.
way. Yeah, I do want to see it return, but like in a good way. Like if it were to return how it was, I probably wouldn't be happy. I don't know. Maybe I would because PvP kind of needs like a.
We need like
I
Mario
don't know, I'm in a
Kart
weird
Sparrow
in-between.
Racing. Just put them together.
We need diversity. Yeah, I actually I had a theory that how we've all us PvP mains, Cog, we've been like bemoaning when did Bungie give up on PvP? And my theory was they gave up on PvP as soon as they took all the vehicles out of PvP way back in D1. I think it's that long ago because that was the point where like they were like, we're gonna build the PvP. It's gonna be like this whole thing. It's kind of gonna be like a sandbox like Halo, and then they sort of like scaled it way down.
Way
and
down.
And they gave up completely on the idea of having big maps and vehicles. And I was just
remember
like,
that.
oh, I guess Destiny isn't a PvP game. And I felt that way since then. Like even when they added trials and stuff, I was sort of just like, yeah, I mean, this is nice, but PvP is sort of the secondary in the Destiny world.
I mean, look how small they scaled it in the launch of Destiny 2, 4v4.
Yes, I
got
remember. I was
really
very
small
angry
scale.
at that. I remember that. That was a time. Oh yeah.
They've
For sure.
been scaling it down basically from, I mean, they've added modes over the years and then taken them away, which I guess they're re-giving some of those back to us. Long live Rift. But yeah,
Rift.
I honestly think like if Bungie would have stuck to their guns and tried to develop the Destiny sandbox to include vehicles and have maps and different types of game modes, they could have a trials and then a more casual version where it's just big team battle with vehicles and stuff. The game would be so different today.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah,
I
they've
agree.
never sort of just gave it up.
He just went away for Trav. What you got for Protheon, the legend here? Any question?
Yeah, I was hoping you could tell people who don't know what Destiny Tracker is, what it is, and how you got involved in that and all that.
Nice.
Yeah, so Destiny Tracker is a branch of Tracker Network. They track millions of stats in tons of games: Rocket League, Battlefield, Halo, Call of Duty, Warzone, League of Legends, like tons of things. And so I've always kind of expressed interest publicly that like I think being social media manager, like running that stuff would be interesting for things that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
And I was just reached out by his name's Jay. He's like the general manager of the Destiny Tracker branch, and he said, "Hey, would you want to help out on Destiny Tracker? Just tweeting like news posts and helping me with the account. Like we've grown a lot and we need the help." So I said, "Sure, I'll try it out." And there was a lot of learning on the way, but it's been a really fun experience. It's tougher than it looks. Like you're constantly scanning like Destiny news, and you want to provide information in a way that isn't hard to read, right?
Right.
Because there's tons of people out there that don't read every TWAB. There's tons of people that don't read every Reddit post, and you want to kind of like condense those important points to people, to social media, which is what these people are on, but they might not be necessarily looking at everything Destiny and not be caught up to date with the news. I mean, thankfully, the Bungie's been putting like those in-game messages out.
Yeah.
Like I think that has been an awesome change because there's so many some of my friends they don't know everything going on with Destiny. They're more a casual player and they don't know all of this stuff. Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
I
So that's
use
kind of
it
how we got started.
when I
Yeah.
Yeah, I look at the Destiny tracker post just because sometimes it's easier than logging on, especially if I'm working on a review or something and I don't have a ton of time to commit to Destiny. It's just good to like check in and see what's happening. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
Good.
interesting because
service.
Destiny is one of those weird games where it's like the hardcore that are invested, we know what's going on, but we even have like it's one of these games that it kind of requires an external resource to know what's going on consistently. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's weird. I've never really had a game like that where it's like, you know, and there's so many different pockets of information you can go to specific people for. So it's cool that, you know, you guys kind of got something to consolidate a lot of the information and bring that out, you know, to the people. I think that's really cool. What do you think is, to add on to Travis's question, like, what do you think is kind of the hardest things that like people don't understand about that Destiny tracker that's hard to maintain and keep up with?
It's definitely scanning information 24/7. We'll get tweets at 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock and 3 seconds right after reset. 3 seconds after reset. Hey, what's the trials weapon? Okay, I don't know. I'm working on it. And that could be time consuming sometimes because every Friday I'm looking, scanning. Like, there's tons of misinformation back and forth too, and we don't want to be providing that like false information.
Right.
So it's just having to like keep your mind constantly looking at updates related to the game 24/7. It could get exhausting sometimes. And it's actually kind of different. Like if you look at Tracker Network, we're not really a news organization. Right. It's purely for stats, but we kind of converted the Destiny Tracker account into news because we felt like it was just beneficial for the community and everyone else to kind of stay up to date with things.
Yeah, sorry for tweeting at you about what the trials weapon is every Friday.
Okay, I wasn't gonna out you right here. Yeah, it was Travis. I wasn't gonna out him right here, but I mean,
it's my ritual, you know. We all have Friday rituals. My ritual is I tweet at the Destiny Tracker account and ask them for a question. I also like to ask them for Zur. Where is Zur? I ask them 1 hour before Zur shows up.
Before Zur?
That's my move. Yeah.
Hey, if you ask them 1 hour before 2 weeks from now, you'll be right on time.
That's right. Yeah. Good question.
That is true.
Good call.
Ask me how I know that.
Yeah, so whenever there's like a new thing that happens at reset, Jay and I are kind of like, oh boy, here we go. We got to be looking every day.
Like, we got the Agar Scepter quest. You've got these like,
yeah.
No, that's. It's literally. I mean, I don't keep up with everything by any means, especially on like an article website. You're like, I'll try and do everything you can, but yeah, it's always like 12 o'clock in 1 second. Go. Help. Can't even get into the right instance. You're like, tweets are going. You're like, I just need to log in. Nope, it's pretty brutal.
I mean, the reveal event was rough. I mean, we warned everyone beforehand. We're like, we were going to try to sum up everything, so sorry for the spam. But that event was like so fast. We were like, all right, I got this. Yeah, we like double tweeted some things. We're like, oh, I'll delete this one. So, I mean, that part of it can be challenging. But
anyway, moving on. Yeah,
exactly.
Just huge items that they just say in like one sentence. Yeah,
you have a glaive. Go. You'll be able to make them maybe.
But the glaive they at least focused on for like 10 seconds. The weapon crafting was the weirdest one to me because it's a huge announcement and they spent like half a sentence on it. They're like, weapon crafting's coming. Anyway, next.
So
same with the Void 3.0. If like I rewatched it, it was like 20 seconds. Like, we'll be working all the light subclasses and we'll be starting with Void and the other ones will be coming later. Okay, bye. I'm like, okay, whoa, okay.
Yeah. Quick.
They did a little breakdown on it in one of the TWABs. I remember like a bit of a discussion we eventually got to, but I mean, going back to what you guys were talking about, Destiny has a history of launching things not always in the best state, whether it's currencies or convolution or anything. When it comes to weapon crafting, and Protheon, you get to go first, do you have any thoughts of how it might work? And do you think it's going to be player friendly or not?
I'll be honest.
Not to tee it up for you or anything.
Not to lead the witness.
What? No.
I'm not really used to weapon. Like, I don't play many games that already has weapon crafting, so I'm not really sure what to expect. And especially in Destiny with how many currencies there are. I know they mentioned you'll like rank up your weapon. Like the more you use it, the more you could craft. So I'm assuming it's actually going to be more like in Destiny 1 where like you get experience and you kind of upgrade it.
Yep.
That's where I'm going.
Going back to the nodes, we go back to the
we've come
circles.
full circle. Yep.
I really do. I think we might see the return of the circles.
Oh, we gonna be on the Cosmodrome with doing the spin metal dance.
They gotta find some way for me to spend my thousands of environmental currencies. So gotta spend those currencies.
Yeah, so I'm not the best on like weapon crafting, how that works. That's my theory. I'm hoping it's player friendly. I hope there's not a currency involved. In all honesty, I hope it's more like experience.
You naive little.
I'm like, I don't know if you can go zero currencies. The better question is how many do you think there will be? How many of these parts do you need to convert into weapon barrels and stocks to then assemble into a weapon frames and then take to the forge to create your actual weapon template? And then you can take that template and go to Ada and she's got to put it back in the loom to cover it in fabric, and then
craft
I'm
the
just
strand,
kidding.
craft the weave.
But didn't they simplify that though? Didn't they simplify that? The synth weave and all that?
A little bit.
Okay.
They took one of them out.
They took out one of the steps, I would like to see a show of hands. How many people here think that there is even a small chance? Who thinks that there's like greater than a 5% chance that in the weapon crafting system, they include an existing material called weapon parts as in the system? Who thinks there's a chance of that?
They got to figure out what to do.
My
Everybody,
17,000 weapon parts gotta go somewhere.
I think there is a less than 1% chance that weapon parts have any role in weapon crafting. I think that's basically.
Oh, you don't think it will?
At all. No.
Oh, you don't?
Because people have stockpiled them too much, and like, how the hell are they gonna? There's like no way to do that.
Budget's been known to kind of like think about the existence of what was that the something of Triumph, the Callous Room, where they gouged us for all our resources just to finish that trophy room. Remember that thing?
Yeah. And then they deleted the damn thing after you dumped all your resources into it. They vaulted the halls of I can't even remember. I know what you're talking about though.
You know what I'm talking about.
There's two ways they do it. One is they take all of your resources because you're thinking of is that the trophy room, right? They sucked out all your resources to get it. That's one thing.
Tribute
because
hall,
they were trying to rein in the amount of
tribute hall.
They're trying to tribute hall. Yeah, they were trying to rein in the amount of resources that people had very clearly because they just overcharged us for everything. But the thing about weapon parts is they're already kind of useless, right? Yeah. And so they don't really need to reduce our amount of weapon parts, but they also can't just have us have 10,000 weapon parts on day one. So that means that they have to come up with a weapon crafting system that does not use the item called weapon parts, which is crazy. Like that's just like looking at it on paper. Like they're going to have a weapon crafting system, weapon parts aren't going to be included in it. But I just don't see a world where they incorporate weapon parts because it's such a useless material right now. And I've got
what about weapon telemetry?
Telemetry and
0% chance
mod components.
That's involved.
A lot of people running around with the mod component. There's a lot of stuff. Man.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's all new. I think Ebontis is right on the money. It's going to be like weapon frames and weapon barrels, and they're just going to have like all these specific parts, and the actual thing called weapon parts is just going to be completely useless, and people are going to be looking at it like, what are all these parts that apparently aren't? Maybe they'll let you take your weapon parts and spend like 1,000 of them to buy one weapon barrel or something just to get rid of it and address the weirdness of that currency. Yeah. But I just really don't see. I don't see those being used at all, and I would be shocked if they were like, "Oh yeah, you use weapon parts to craft weapons in our weapon system." Then I'd be like,
"They seem
like,
They seem like they want to make weapon crafting like a new core part of Destiny, so I'm hoping it's not so convoluted and it's more simple.
Yes, please.
And then sadly,
New Rad. I know. I said I'm hoping.
And then sadly, New Rad's like, is there going to be a crafting limit lockout?
Of course.
How many can
please.
you do
I'm
each
putting money
week?
on that one. Yeah, I'm putting money on
No.
It's going to be like
I don't think
Warframe
they'll
where
do
you
that.
buy it this week, you make your deposit, and then you've got to let that vested interest grow and blossom into a weapon next week that you pick up at Arms Day. They're going to bring back
Yeah.
Arms Day when
Arms
you can.
Day, remember that? Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I could
Arms
see
Day.
that. I could see them being like, "Oh, you need to upgrade your weapon. It'll get to the next stage at like reset." I could see them doing
Right.
something like that.
Yes,
But
hopefully it's
I'd
not
be
too
surprised
crazy.
if they put like a cap on it, or if they put like synth weave into it, or some like
Yeah.
cap that could be raised
You
if you pay silver.
really
That
hopeful,
would be
Trav.
nice.
You really hopeful. This Bungie, y'all. This Bungie, you know how they do.
I do know how they do, but so far they've been pretty good at staying away from stuff that is pay to win. And if you put a cap or money at all into a weapon system, then it becomes pay to win. Ornaments
Oh, yeah,
fine,
for
but
sure.
an actual weapon system where I could have better weapons than you because I paid money, they've never
Yeah.
crossed that line. And I think if they did, they would have to do
Yeah,
a
they-
180 pretty quick because
No, I agree. I agree that.
the players
Yeah, I
would not
do.
like that.
So here's a question, Protheon,
What's
for
up?
you. As you've been covering a lot of Destiny, now you cover it for Destiny Tracker. With everything you've heard, speculated, thought about on your own, what are your kind of like top 3 things that you're most looking forward to, want more explanation on, anything related to Witch Queen that is like on your radar? Like as soon as, hey, there's an article about this, like what's your, like, that you're like diving into? Like what are your big things that you want explained or you want to know more about with regards to Witch Queen? Besides obviously what we just broke down.
So what I'm most excited for, or what I'm more like confused about?
Either, like
both.
just
Okay.
some topic with regards to Witch Queen where you're like, I need more information, good or bad. Like, please don't do this, or I can't wait to know about this.
Okay, well, as a Nova Bomb Warlock, I'm so excited for Void 3.0.
Void locks, let's go. Stand up, devour, and all that. Let's go. Talk to me.
Yeah. I mean,
Guardian
yeah,
Dawn.
so that's like Void 3.0, I'm so excited for. Like a new playstyle. Stasis, I wasn't really a fan of Stasis, but all the aspects and all like the turret that Warlocks have and all the different like customization,
Stasis
I thought that
lit
was really
for Warlocks.
Yeah, you guys
Uh-huh.
got the cool stuff.
cool. Yeah, we did kind of get spoiled with that.
Yeah. Talk that
Titans have the
You do
worst
using that
voice
Agent
supers.
Scepter with that chest to
100%.
battle harmony. Using that chest to battle harmony too. Continue. Warlock
Were you
vibe.
using that against me in our trials match 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, that would have definitely been contributed to why I lose it if I was doing that.
I was gonna say, who
was
won
not.
that match?
Oh, we got stomped. Oh my god, I was stomped.
It's
I probably
okay.
like won one round versus
Yeah.
my poor little dudes. And then I was like, I get this message. I'm like, I said, this person talking trash. Like I didn't know. You know, you just get a message after a
Yeah,
message. I
sure.
haven't looked at the message yet. So I'm like, who is this? And I'm like, oh, it's Protheon. I'm like, oh, that's what's up. He's like, hey, good match, bro. I was like, oh, that's what's up. It was so cool. It was so cool.
Yeah, that was
The
cool.
patience.
That was like the first time I've like met someone I knew through trials.
Yeah,
like that
through
doesn't
that,
happen
yeah.
for me often.
Yeah, that was cool.
Um,
Matchmaking was it.
Yeah. Another
Mhm.
thing I'm really excited about is I like that their new focus on the campaign.
Yes.
How they want it
Yes.
to be repeatable and like with like different versions of. Did they specifically say hard mode?
Legendary.
Yeah,
mode.
legendary.
Legendary
yeah,
mode?
some type of hard mode, legend mode. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, Halo. I mean, I'm used to that stuff,
Yeah,
and
yep,
I'm excited to try that out.
Crank it up.
We need to put on swords. I mean modifiers.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
third thing, I mean, the raid, right?
Yeah.
I love raids, so I would say PvP maps, but unfortunately, that's not coming till after.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's not get out. Let's not get ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not asking too much.
You know what I'm waiting for? That next Gambit map. That's top on my list. I've got to
Oh,
know
I
when it
know.
drops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm hyped
Especially
about
since
the
they
raid.
sunsetted two of them, and one of them I really liked, that Tangled Shore one. I know I fell a lot, but it was,
I fell
it
a
was
lot
a
in that
fun
one
map.
too. Yeah, I did like that map.
I mean,
It was-
there
it
were
was
a
an
total of
interesting map.
6. You should never have gotten rid of any of them.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's still. They got rid of the Dreaming City one. I always thought that one looked pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's the
it's
one
a little
behind the
too
gate.
big though. That
yeah,
one
the
was
one
a
behind the
little
gate.
too big. It took forever to get to certain parts of the map. Needed to be reworked.
Yeah.
What about you
Yeah, but
two? Just
campaign
give me
is, like,
one. Maybe you
really
haven't
up there.
thought of recently. Which queen wants, hopes, dreams, desires, fears?
Trav, what you got
Mm,
for the queen? What you want?
I still want a second location that we don't know about.
That's the big
like
dream.
the Dreaming City. That's like the big one. It's like, I know they said that they're never going to be able to do like the size of Forsaken or whatever, but my worry is that it won't have the end game legs that we want it to have, because that, for all of its faults, and it had quite a few beyond Light, it didn't really have much in the end game. Like after you beat the raid, there were a few things. There was like the weekly events where we were figuring out what was going on with what's his face, giant
Clovis.
robot face.
Yeah,
that's it. And stuff like that, but there wasn't a ton. I felt like we were waiting pretty much right away. Whereas Forsaken, there was like a month and a half, almost 2 months, where every single week there was some new stuff going on, and I just remember being like, wow, this game's like huge. And it felt more like an annual expansion rather than just a regular like seasonal thing. So my thing is, I just want the end game to like be there. I want Witch Queen to actually have legs. I don't want to be thinking about playing you know, what game's next, you know, after like 2 weeks with Witch Queen, you know. So even though there's going to be like 50 other games coming out in that window,
of course,
that's
insane.
There's not enough time in there's not enough time in that month.
Yeah,
somebody said I need Feb like March timber. I need to just make up a month and squeeze one in there.
Yeah.
So I guess my answer is just surprises. I just want to be surprised by anything during the DLC.
For me, I just want good transition to the raid. I want good narrative transition, and I want true fear of Savathun. I want like real serious stakes, you know. And I think I agree with you, E. I don't know if you said it or Trav said it, where it was kind of like, you know, I think it was you, E. Where I don't want a situation where we do the narrative and then we just go in there and we just squash her.
Oh yeah, not a Zol. I mean? If they do a Zol killer in like a strike mission, no, Savathun deserves so much more, and they got a voice actress for her. It's like, it feels like they're setting someone up who, if they do that too, it seems like such a waste. Like they're squandering such an opportunity for character arc and development, interesting story with Crow and everything we got going on with Mara. Like, if half of these people survive and like no major people die, which still don't even know if that's going to happen, or if we'll get Osiris, like if any and all of these people keep going, like, there's a whole lot of cool stuff that can be told there. And I just hope they use this opportunity that they finally have set up some cards that kind of give you a direction to go and go with them. Not just, here you go and tip the house over again.
Absolutely. And that's why part of me feels like she needs to stay around a bit. And this thing has to continue a little bit because, like the Zol situation and the squashing and you know.
Are you still in the camp of us aligning ourselves with her in the end, Cog?
I think so. I think they are
at the end of the campaign, or
you know what it is? It's the fact that the light somehow she's manipulated and the light has quote unquote chosen her. So that part of me still is holding on to the hope that we're not done with her, because technically, in a sense, she's one of us.
Yeah, in a weird way.
We're also apparently hanging out in her throne world, and if she was dead, that'd be a little weird if we're still hanging out in her throne world.
Protheon, you was about to jump in?
Yep.
Yeah, I think...
What you think?
That Savathun is going to be... I don't think we're going to be friends. I think she is going to be her death is going to be what ends the Light and Dark saga. So I don't think she's going around... Or I don't think she's leaving anytime soon. You know, in Avengers Infinity War, where Thanos wins...
Let's go.
I think Witch Queen is where Savathun wins, and we spend the rest of this saga recovering from that, and she's always here. Like that voice actress that they hired, I forget her name. She's in tons of stuff, and extremely talented. There's no way that Savathun is just leaving. If anything, she's either going to be here until Lightfall, or I think my theory is the end of this saga.
Interesting.
I would like that.
I think
like that. You gotta be hyped.
Bad out there.
She plays such a major role, and now she's like us. Supposedly, she's going to be able to wield the light, and I'm assuming the dark. I'm assuming that she already can and does. So we're kind of on even playing fields.
Yeah.
So there's no way that she just, knock on wood, there's no way she just leaves and she dies like Oryx and is gone. I think she's staying for a while.
I definitely think there's a pretty good chance she won't die, and I would hope that she doesn't, because that's been one of my criticisms forever in Destiny is that they don't keep their villains around long enough. But
I agree.
I feel like there would be a lot of disappointment if she was the ultimate evil for like the end of the saga, just because they've been building up the darkness forever. And if the pyramid ships are just like not as important as Savathun in the grand scheme of things, I feel like people would be like, wait, what was that all about? Like, we were super afraid of the pyramid ships this whole time, and Savathun. You know what I mean?
See, that's my worry about the pyramid ships.
There's got to be a bigger bad.
I was like, my worry about the pyramid ships is the closer and closer we get to the end of the saga, you have to wonder how much. Again, you think of the resources it takes to develop an entire race.
Yeah,
like, and to change game mechanics and model, and like, and different, so many more things that could come in. It's like they're flirting with maybe another weapon type, like the green. You know, everybody jokes like it didn't make it in this one. Maybe it'll make it in Nightfall for whatever reason. They're, who knows how they'll retcon whatever they were thinking about doing. But I was like, if you got Witch Queen, there's 2 years left. You put all the effort into developing this like brand new race that we haven't seen in 8 years. That's my only worry, is that at this point they're so far along, and then they've said this is the end of this saga. To do something that big, it does feel like that's where you go post Light and Dark saga. To me, like if you do it for 2 years, it's like it's either a really strong finish if they do, but it's going to surprise me if they put that much effort into something to finish the saga, which we do need a good finale to make it matter, but it is also a whole lot of resources develop, just brand new enemies. It's, I mean, I could see different reskins, like how we've seen Frozen and Siva. That's where I could see them go, but like, yeah, I just don't know if we're going to actually see like the Veil, like these floaty, ghostly race people.
It could be part of the reason that they added another year to the saga, because it's no longer ending with Lightfall. You know, they got the final shape, and also it seems to me like they're building up a lot of mechanics that are gonna go survive beyond the end of the Darkness and Light saga, because we already know, we can kind of infer based on the way that they did what's the ice? How am I forgetting the name of the
Europa?
Ice element?
Stasis?
Oh, Stasis?
Stasis, Jesus.
It only haunted you for like 5 months in the Crucible.
If anybody has ever listened to a podcast, I just want to stop this right there. If you've ever been listening to the podcast and you're like, oh, I totally know that word, why can't they think of it? Because it literally happens to everybody at some point. And you're in the middle of like, I can't think of the word. What's the word for the? Like,
yeah, exactly.
It happens. So
especially if you're on a show and there's like pressure to remember it, like immediately. Someone will be like, hey, what was that really cool scout rifle in D1? And then my brain's like, hung jury, but my mouth's like, I can't get it to come out. So Stasis. We kind of know by the way they set up Stasis in the primary slot that there's going to be 2 other elements coming, and they're going in the primary slot too, right? Like we've kind of discussed that on the show, that it would just make sense if they did that.
It would, but at some point then you'll have kinetic. If there's 2 more that go up there, then you got 4, and then I don't know. I guess we'll see. Like,
I mean,
heavies are just like everything. Everything's a heavy too.
Heavy will be everything, and then the primary will have 3 elements plus kinetic, and then the secondary slot will also have 3 separate elements plus kinetic. But yeah, that just seems like
this has the square root of solar shields and arc divided by stasis green. I'm like, what do I take into this strike? I don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah.
Good luck, Destiny Tracker.
Destiny Tracker, you're gonna have a rough time. But they've got that going for them, right? And then they've got the fact that we know that they're spending this next year redoing all of the light subclasses, which that's also a lot of work to do if you only have 2 more years. So I don't think we're losing our light or darkness powers. Because that would change the game completely. So if the light and dark can still exist after the light and dark saga, then so could this new mob that they may be unveiling. You know what I mean? So they could exist in the same way that the Covenant are still around in Halo, even though the war's over. There's separate factions we're fighting. So there's lots of, I think, workarounds where you can kind of repurpose stuff. I mean, we're still fighting the Taken, and the Taken King's been dead for a while. There's always
that's still weird, but yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
What else we got, E?
Well, I mean, that kind of covers our guest a little bit. If there's anything else you guys wanted to ask, or we kind of feel like we tapped on most things.
Did we ask him any of the like Destiny questions? Like, I guess
we did
we know how he
not.
got into Destiny, but we didn't ask him like favorite raids or
Yeah, we
did
expansion
not.
or anything. Yeah.
Good point, Trav. Good point.
Favorite top 3 raids?
Oh boy, top 3. Okay, King's Fall is number 1, 2, 1. I'm gonna say 1.
Are you sure?
I know it's controversial.
Final answer.
He's
Final
about to
answer.
check you.
I'm not
He said,
sure.
"Are you sure?"
I change it all the time because that and Last Wish like truly felt like going into like the dungeon and defeating the boss. Like
Loved it.
those both had really strong elements of that. Last Wish, Riven legit is really tough, and it's actually not really my favorite encounter. But the rest of that raid where you're fighting bosses and
Shirochi?
it's the second Shirochi going up. That was a really unique way to defeat a boss.
pacing.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. I think they tried a ton of different things with that raid, and they nailed like a lot of aspects of that. So I don't know. Maybe I guess that's number 1. I don't know. Like I said, I don't really know.
The switch. Oh, you
King's
heard
Fall.
me
He says
right now.
he
He was
switched a
loving you
lot
until
and
you
he
said
meant
that.
it.
He
Yeah.
He
was loving
switched
you.
during the podcast.
King's Fall and Last Listen, man. Good choices, man. Good choices. So
Yeah,
continue the ranking.
Yeah, King's Fall was the first raid that my team did like completely blind, so it kind of just holds a special place in my heart.
Of course.
Nothing will ever beat the moment where the Taken King shows up, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's a hard one to beat.
Even when you're fighting an Ahamkara, it really is nothing. You kind of don't even really understand what you're looking at. But when you saw Oryx come out, you were like, "This is insane!" Like that moment. Yeah.
So really quick story. The one guy on my team, he's a really quiet, reserved dude, right? And he's very calm.
I think I see where this is going.
I know where this is going.
We're all in our inventory, and he's a hunter. He's just like, all right, let's go. Like that's kind of like, but he's quiet about it, you know. He's letting us do his thing, and he goes. All of a sudden, we hear, guys, and we're like, what? And then the music starts playing. He goes, that guy that we're fighting, he's really big. And then we got rid of like the screen like of our character, and I see this giant hive god, and my one friend goes, "Oh shit!" and freaking out. And that moment lives in my head forever because the guy that was quiet, reserved, just guys,
Yeah.
that dude we're fighting, he's really big right now.
He took the swole pills, and we have to deal with him
exactly.
now. I think mine was just, I think his scale worked even better because he's on this outer kind of little platform on the ship, and you have the planet in the background. I swear almost gives him more scale. So like that's, it was always
he eclipses
like that perfect
Saturn,
combination.
Really.
Yeah.
I also went blind into that raid, and I feel like everyone who went blind into that raid and got that moment, they got the ultimate reward for not looking things up online. Because I'm a big advocate for like never looking anything up online for a video game. I just like to figure things out, even if it takes me a longer time. But that moment, dude, like one guy took off his helmet, his headset, and you could hear him like going berserk in the background. It sounded like he was like running up and down his hallway going like,
Well, that's like,
So,
there were the memes.
Moments,
there were the memes. People were like, holy, like people were just losing their mind. That is one of those that I remember, and I was thinking about Sekiro because I cannot remember why it came up. Could have been the Last Stand thing, but there is one of the bosses you fight in Sekiro had literally a viral set of reactions that went out, kind of similar the way to the first time you saw Oryx. The first time this happened.
Which one is it?
It's the ape.
Oh, part 2. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, so it's like I was trying not to say anything in case, but it's probably been a couple years.
You good.
But yeah, like those moments, like there are a few moments that you see like travel the internet in reactions, and Oryx is one of them. That's why I was like, I would really like to see one of those again. Like the scale, the grandiose nature of, a god in his shadow realm, planet sized. You're like, oh, okay, I'm tiny. Even like his hand smashing. You're like, I'm so like, holy crap.
Yeah, it's epic. Shout out to Brian Monkus, who we've had on, the artist. and he's got a tremendous.
Oh, I love that one. Yeah,
artist of King's Fall with the scale of Oryx, and then the platform.
I like that bit.
And just like the small guardian, how minute they are in scale to Oryx, and like that moment, you can never. I still remember the music. I remember everything about it, the blights, the different strategies, the teleportation into the little world where you got to fight your way out. And that was a moment, man, when you beat him, especially hard mode. You beat him on hard mode. That was a thing. It was just a great raid. It's just, so many different encounters, the Golgoroth, the sisters, so many things, the Phallic wall that I had different things there. The only thing I hate, because I'm a warlock, I'm a terrible jumper.
That's on you. That's just platforming.
Yeah, but let me finish the story before you blow it. So the whole thing is when you get to the part with the ships, and there's this one jump where you kind of got to look up.
Which one.
That jump would I would be the bane of every fire team. Like everybody's like, Cog ain't ready yet. Come on, guys. Like they all partying on the other side. They emoting, making fun of me. And I'm like, I can't. Like I was terrible at that. But I used to literally have panic attacks. I'm like, when are we getting there? Just pull me forward.
I'll quit. I'll join back. Just take me where we gotta go.
I hated that part. But other than that, excellent raid. Excellent raid.
Oh, so that's why that's not ranked as high. Just the emotional scarring that it has on you is.
Yeah. No, it's a great raid. It's just not my number one, but it's a great raid.
I still think the War Priest is the best encounter in that raid.
I like War Priest.
That's a very fun,
really good raid. It's simple and pure, and the boss is awesome. Just so cool.
Yes. Yep. Great raid. Can't say too many bad things about that raid. Definitely.
And I never said my third, but I'm going to cheat here a little bit.
Let's go.
Because it's not a raid, but it holds a special place, is Skolas.
There we go. I like that.
That was
Don't hear that often or ever.
Skolas no house.
Was it first week when he was impossible, or second week when you nuked his butt?
Was first week Solar Burn?
I think so.
Or was that Arc Burn?
I think first was Solar. I guess you can nuke him that week with like Galahorn if you had it, right?
Galahorn, yeah. And then people, because this is like before they nerfed him. He had a nerf. Because then people tried Fourth Horseman, and then there was controversy because Fourth Horseman was only on PlayStation at the time.
Yes.
So that was a big debate, I remember. But that, the whole like poison element, and you have to like trade between your teammates. I thought that was cool.
It's a great mechanic. You're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I really liked that fight. I really enjoyed that fight.
It's one of those moments where they're pushing you up to the edge of what's manageable, but kind of did.
Yeah.
Speaking of what's manageable, anybody go flawless freelance this weekend? Did anybody play Trials? Did anybody go freelance?
How
really?
How was everybody's experience?
How it was.
Yeah, how was it? Let's start with Travis. I got to hear about this.
The matchmaking was bad. It was just, like basically it takes out all the stuff out of Trials that like, you like about Trials, like the teamwork and coordination. And Trials kind of requires coordination because you only get one life and you're down. And so if all teams are just like not talking at all and just random it's sort of is just chaos. And so I played it. I was like, I'm glad that it's so easy to get into Trials. That part's good, but the experience is really not like, does not resemble anything close to like a good Trials experience, just in my limited experience. I won some matches, I lost some matches, and then I was like, all right, I at least got a taste for this, But yeah, my I did not go flawless, and my overall, I didn't even really play long enough to go flawless. I was just kind of trying it out just so I could have something to say on the show. But my experience with it was that it was like, it's like any other match made like comp playlist. It's sort of, you got to make the most out of it what you can, but you definitely feel it with the only one life thing. Like you feel the matchmaking kind of thing, and you can actually see it in Bungie's data. They put a bunch of data on that, and you saw that the 5-0 matches, like the really lopsided matches, were higher on the freelance playlist, and that definitely like shows like it's hard to matchmake a completely random team. So,
Protheon, your experience?
0 experience. I was not able to participate in this weekend.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But smart. From what Travis saying, I've heard similar things. So, yeah.
E.
was gonna say, Cog, did you get a chance to play?
Oh, I was gonna say if you always put me up next. No, you go. I'm curious. I'm very curious about your experience.
I played a decent amount this weekend. I'm trying to see if I can kind of get a check on how many matches I played. I tend to play a lot of solo. That's just generally what happens, is kind of how that falls. So whether it's like Friday, Saturday, I was looking up. Sunday, didn't do much because I had some stuff. But Tuesday, I ended up getting my 7 wins. I mean, I played enough to get to that. I mean, as Travis said, it's like, yeah, you're not having that much communication. So you are kind of seeing what people do, trying to react to that, see if people are going to play smart. I think I was listening to, what was I listening to? Couldn't remember if it was Fallout or Firing Range. And they're just like, oh, the Titans that just like run straight in.
Uh-oh. No, the water's back. Oh, he's back.
You're
There you
good.
go. Woo.
You're good. You're
He's
good.
back.
He's good.
Oh,
You good.
I'm good, but yeah, the connection, the stream will be.
Range, you said.
Yeah. Firing
Stream
Range, yep.
will come back. Hopefully.
It's all good.
But yeah, so I was listening to Firing Range, and they're just like, oh, it's like, somebody just like, there's always the one person that just like beeline straight into the other person's door. Like, what are you doing over there? Like, just hang out for a second, just a second, see what happens. There's always those. And even me, like, not high skilled, learn a lot from pretty much anybody that I'd probably play with who's better than me, which is a lot of people. But even I can give some basic people some pointers of like, here's the map. You should probably not go straight into there. If you get to a door and you see big red things on your radar, first look at your radar. Like, just some basic stuff that you notice that I'm like, I'm kind of being more aware. I'm trying to stick more to the 60-40. I'm actually trying to think about that a little bit more.
Look at you.
I mean, I'm trying to be conscious.
I will take the so-called unskilled player who's like more aware and team oriented over the hothead tryhard. And because that guy ruins the team, and like there's no vetting process. And
like when I go into trials and we like, if it's like just me and my buddy, and we have a random third. Yeah, I'd prefer if that random third were to just like hang out with us and stay with the team rather than run off by himself.
Yeah, I got strats. It's funny. I'll wait till E finish. I'll tell you my experience with E finish.
Yeah, no, but I mean, as you guys are saying, it's like that person at least could maybe hang back and res. Couple things, please res people.
Yes,
that's a thing.
Please
use your super.
Yes. Why do people be holding on? Thank you. Oh my! Because sometimes I'm like, all right, we got one. This is gonna change it, and then you like, oh, you still not. You don't feel it's time.
It sounds like a YouTube video for you. I mean, top 5 things not to do in trials, like as a solo player.
Dude,
yeah, like just some of the
joint.
I mean, this is like PvP. Like creators are probably so much better at this, but even for me. I tweeted out, even I was just like, all the tweet was user super, and Fallout was like, he's saving it for next game. I'm like, damn it. I was like, it was perfect, but I was like, that's what you feel like. I'm like, they have 4. It's match point like an intended. Like, this is it. This is the time to click the button.
Yeah.
So you'll have some frustrating moments, and then there's some times where you'll be like, there are times where I'm like, I paired up with a god. Like, I'm in here just being like, I'm gonna like jump in a backpack here and be like, this guy. That's the person when you see him like, hey, this guy's going in for the flank in the door, and all of a sudden they've got 2 kills like every round. I'm like, I just have to keep an eye on the other guy. At that point, all I do is watch bodies. If you pair with a god, watch bodies. Like, be defensive. Like, kind of watch your radar. Just stick. That's another thing for like a basic thing. If someone dies on the other team, don't leave the body. If you're not entirely sure what to do, at least stay with the bot. Like, these are basic things like that you want to scream through your computer. And it's like, and I get this is where this is Travis' frustration. I 100% get that this is the frustration. But on the other side, I will tell you, Saint needs to be everywhere in this damn game.
Yo, he's so funny.
His
I love
comment.
him.
Like, I could be having the worst match, and he's like, "This is match point. You've been down too far before." It's like everything he says makes all of my matches
it's
better. Like he would.
It would be great.
Like, it's so good. Like,
it would be great if, like, the example that you were saying, like someone goes too far from your body and he's like, Guardian, what are you doing? Go back to your teammate.
Oh, yeah, just a couple instructions from Saint would be really nice.
Use your super, Guardian.
Yes. Show me the lights.
Show me the light gun, bro. I'm with you.
I mean, I will say for me, it's like I had my ups and I had my downs. but I will tell you, every time I started another match, I knew I did not have to check the roster to see if I was against a 3-stack.
Yeah, that's
and for me, it's like some are going to be good, some are going to be trash, and I totally get that. But I can tell you, every time I start, I'm like, at least I know everybody's in that same boat.
Same situation.
There's going to be gods on one side. There's going to be gods on my team. I'm going to watch somebody get backpacked on the other side. I'm going to be in somebody else's. Every so often, I'm going to be on top of the leaderboard, which I'm like, I don't even know how that happens. But like, there's enough randomness to it that it isn't just like punishing to me.
Right.
So that's why for me, I found it more manageable because I wasn't checking the roster every time. It's like I'd see the loadouts in play.
Sure.
I wasn't going in and like 3 and like just defeated at the start of the match.
When you see the two people on the other side with the clan logo with the same
3 in the clan logo.
You're like,
I saw
no,
that. Yeah.
This is not gonna go good, bro. Yeah, I mean, if you finish, I'll jump in.
Yeah, go for it. That's kind of mine. It's like even though they're like the win and loss ratio may not be that great for me overall, it's still something I hope they bring back at least every so often, as we've kind of mentioned, and we'll kind of get to that. But it's like it's one of those for me that. There was, as a solo player, it's kind of the nice way.
Right. No, I feel you. Everybody's experience is different. You know, I agree with Travis in the sense that, like, it is definitely the Wild West. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. It is very much the Wild West. Like, you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know how it's going to go down. You know, I usually jump into it the first 2 rounds is my assessment period. That's when I was like, okay, what's his name? Well, okay, what is he doing? Right? And I'll look at who's dying first, like who's getting picked first, right? So if we don't, like, we lose the first round, the first 2, I'm following that guy. I want to know what you're doing. Right? So that's me being, and a lot of times when I adopt that strategy, it kind of helps the team because some people are being over aggressive. They're not doing what they're supposed to. But then I've had experiences when I was doing freelance, when it was the other way, without freelance, it was just regular matchmaking. What I was noticing it too many times, I'm the best player with the blueberries, and I'm okay, but I ain't that great to be carrying 2 blueberries. With this, every couple of matches, and I ain't going for this, the part that felt good. I gotta shout this man out. Shout out to Auric's son. I was like, the match start, and it was like 2 bodies down already. I'm like, oh, he's a beast. I'm going where he going. So it became this thing where I get excited when it's actually a very good play. It was so rare. I felt it happened the other way in freelance, right? But this way, I was just like, every once in a while, I had like a god on my team, and I was learning, and to the point where he did some plays where it was like Last Guardian standing, him 1v3 dudes.
Saw one
after
or two of those.
the match. And don't get me wrong, like he had like 16 kills. I may have 8. The guy who he's playing was very bad. Like the third guy, Blueberry, was awful. He texted me after the match. He's like, my back is hurting for all the carrying I'm doing. Like he's cursing at like the third dude. Yeah. And I'm like, bro, you should be cursing at me because you carried me too. He's like, nah, dude, you were good. And then we end up being friends, and then we linked up and let's play some regular joint. And I've had a couple of experiences like that I know would have not happened any other way outside this environment. I still agree with Travis in the sense that they still need, this is the problem now with not having skill-based or any type of the ranking system. Because now, when everyone's willy-nilly, it's the super Wild West, right? Anything could happen. So you get all this varying skill level stuff. But shout out to the people. I was shocked. I was shocked at how many people that I knew went flawless that way. That surprised me. Like, I shout out to the Ash and Luca. Shout out to, I think, Liz. I think he's in here. A couple of people in my clan went flawless this way. And I thought it's just like so much luck of the draw. I thought I would never encounter that, but people were encountering it. So it's interesting. We'll get into the data and stuff like that. Listen, it still needs work. I ain't going to sit here and sugarcoat it like, it's there and all that. But I was surprised with certain aspects that were fun and certain aspects that I'm like, okay, this needs work. And I didn't get a chance to play. I'm very curious if any of you, Protheon, Trav, any of you guys during the freelance weekend, I'm a Protheon didn't play this week, but anybody played regular matchmaking without the freelance? I'm curious if the competitive aspect went up, or was it changes for those people who played exclusively
No.
that way?
Yeah, how'd it feel, Travis? That's all you.
I should preface this by saying I didn't play it that way this weekend. I just didn't have time.
You did freelance. Okay.
But I did freelance just because I wanted to try it while it was there.
Yeah, of course.
And it was easy to jump into, right?
Right.
But I think two things. One, I think the Wild West nature of the freelance playlist speaks even more to my desire for there to be like some sort of ranking system, right? Just a seasonal ranking system. There needs to be a way to group these things. That said, I'm glad that freelance exists because I don't think that 3v3 stacks should be preying on solo queuers and the thing. That said, I think in order for this to work, if they're going to have a freelance playlist permanently or even on a trial basis in the future, they need to not let players join the 3v playlist because
I was going to ask you that.
The icon for freelance is small and people don't see it or they don't know that it's a thing and they join the regular trials playlist and it messes up the experience for people who want to play 3vs. So I think either just don't let them do it. If they click on that icon,
pretty much 3 stacks only in that one.
Nope, you do not have enough members in your fire team to play this mode. Go play the freelance version. Or it needs to give, and this would not be my preference just because I don't think they should even have the opportunity, but if they do insist on playing that mode or they click on it, there should just be like an alert like, hey, you're alone in your fire team. Would you like to play this other mode instead?
Yeah, literally. Like,
did you mean to click on this other button? Because this is not going to be a good experience.
The in-game like instruction guidance for a lot of things in this game is lacking. Like, I mean, I don't think there's an instruction in how to play Gambit for a new player, is there? I mean, they can click on the node.
I don't think so.
When it first came out, there was like those instruction tooltips at the bottom, but I think that only appears your first game.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, so
it's like, oh, you have modes, now dunk them, but that's it.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like a brand new person's like, Vanguard, what's Gambit? Oh, let me click on that. What do I do? Like, there's no tooltips. There's no tutorial video. There's that stuff always. And again, same thing with trials. It's like you were a solo player. It's like, are you sure you want to do this? And you could click even something like, click L trigger if you never want to see this warning again. But you're by yourself. Would you like to try the freelance playlist? And you could clear it once a weekend or something like that when it's up, just to make people aware of it, as Travis said, because a solo should not be going in there. And really, for Travis, like 3 stacks or solos. It is weird for 2s at that point, but then that gets at least back to if 2's in there, one random person's kind of getting screwed.
Exactly. It can't be 2s because then you have to allow 1s if you allow 2s. So there's like a weird error there. You can't also allow the 2s in the freelance playlist because then it kind of takes a jab at the people who are solo queuing. So there's not really a good solution. Again, this is one of the things I was like, I'm worried about matchmaking and trials because there's a lot of issues with it. I want to read this tweet that Trials Report put out because I think it's hilarious. I retweeted it. Some of you guys may have seen it. It says, there was a Guardian that played Trials for the very first time this weekend. They solo queued for 184 matches, all in the regular playlist. 29 wins, 174 kills, 1,039 deaths. Amount of matches in freelance, 0. So that is like, that is a guy who just played 184 trials matches this weekend. None in the freelance playlist because presumably because they did not know it was a thing. And had a pretty terrible experience, 29 wins out of 184 matches. So I again, like there needs to be at least a way to let these people know that the freelance exists and direct them in that way because 184 matches, and I mean, it's bad. That's very unfortunate. I feel bad.
Yeah,
for
I mean,
person.
I know some people who, I'm one of them. Like the only times I've done trials actually this entire season has just been with me and my one friend, and we're just randomly searching for a third. You put a weird spot into these fire teams at 2, and plus, if this freelance option does become like a better, an easier way to go flawless, then some teams might purposely just not play with one another because the 3s is just going to be sweatier than the individuals.
Yeah,
that's why I was going to ask you guys a question when you finish.
So you create like this weird scenario where the 3s playlist is harder to go flawless than the freelance version. If freelance continues to be easier to go, like more people are going flawless in that regularly. It's a weird scenario.
Yeah, I'm curious. I know we're going to get into the details of the statistics that they're going to break up with the in Bungie and the TWAB. I guess my question for you guys, because I do agree with the aspect of the twos and the, one guy going in there and the twos going in that kind of, the uneven, the random nature of it. What I'm very curious if what would you guys say if they came to this, I'm just hypothetically, came to the conclusion, they're like, okay, freelance is here to stay, right? But then they go, you have to matchmake with old trials. So what if they came up with that's their data solution? How would you guys feel about that?
What, freelance cards only, or what was it?
Freelance, how it is as it is now, right?
Yeah.
And then they bring back old school trials without matchmaking for the threes. How would y'all feel about that?
I think that's fine. I think you almost have to do that if you want true separation. Otherwise, you're always going to have the people that just don't know about the freelance playlist or whatever. And that's an even worse experience, because if you don't know about the freelance playlist, you're probably not a hardcore Destiny player. You're probably not going to perform especially well. So it's like an even worse kind of sign. Like when I find a solo queuer playing in the comp playlist, not in freelance, like if I'm playing with one other guy and then we get a solo queuer, I'm like, wow, this guy's going to be really, really bad because he doesn't know about the freelance
doesn't
playlist.
Even know.
And I'm always right. I'm always right on the money. Like if you find somebody there, they are really bad because they didn't know about freelance. So yeah, I think that's a problem. But to Protheon's point, if you create a high barrier of entry and a low barrier of entry, and the low barrier of entry has more casual players who don't have teammates, that could become an easier bet for the ultra sweaties without any sort of ranking system. Then you just prey on solo queues and go to the freelance playlist, and it effectively kills the original trials mode either way. So again, this is one of the problems I had at the beginning when they were doing this. Is all right, well, if they separate it, then that means all the casuals are in freelance, and it just adds so many questions of is the old version of trials or a competitive version of trials even going to be practical once you put matchmaking in the mix? And I think it gets more complicated the more you try to break it up. And so freelance was a interesting experiment, but I'm interested to see what kind of data they took from that or learnings, because my perception is that it creates even more complexities and potential pitfalls. So
Protheon, you said you was going to say something, or I'm sorry. Oh, you good? Okay. No, I thought Protheon had something. No, it's interesting. I'm very curious. I was wanting to ask you guys that question, and I know you want to transition into the thing, the TWAB.
Yeah,
I got some other comments.
Absolutely. Yeah. So for the TWAB, this week at Bungie, they touched on last week of Festival of Lost, knock your stuff out. Most of this is about trials. So first, they said trials matchmaking changes. A quick recap of the stats from the last few weeks. Matchmaking times are consistent with past few weeks. Blowout rates dropped slightly week over week. This is consistent with lower skilled players not playing as much. Average hours played per player remains consistent across skill levels. Overall player counts went down each week, but that is expected during this portion of a season, and that is consistent with past trials and Iron Banner performance. We still don't see any evidence of widespread flawless card resets to avoid the flawless pool. Less than 0.5% of cards played were reset while flawless and still above 3 wins. Even still, the impetus to do this should be removed starting this week. More on that below. So that's basically just the idea about those stats. Do those all sound positive to you guys? Like things are going in a good direction? Is there any weird outlier you guys hear of there? Anything before I talk about freelance?
Fewer casual players doesn't sound good.
That's naturally going to happen, though, as any casual player is going to fall off. They do expect that to a point. You can't keep everybody playing this game for the entire time, but it does sound like it is
not good, though.
No, I mean, that's definitely one, and that's why I think even the numbers this weekend actually seem pretty good.
I'm more so curious if they have the data on if there's players playing Destiny, just not Trials. Are the people who were playing Trials those first few weeks, are they playing this weekend?
Good point.
I feel like that's a better measurement rather than just overall population of Trials. Because
that's a good metric.
There's also a lot of other games coming out of this season.
Sure.
Right. And a long season. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be an easier way to point to, are those casual players not playing because of the experience, or are they not playing because they just have the loot that they wanted? I know a lot of people said they're just going to play Trials until they get the loot and then they're done.
That's what I was saying. That's my point. And the fact that, again, it's a long season. At the end of the day, the reward, there was one really new reward, right? Reed's Regret. After you get your reads, you get your Vorpal, you get your triple tap, everything else is pretty much a reissue of stuff we've been already had, kind of thing. And I think it's just a combination of those two things. That's why I was curious about it. But I think you're right, Protheon, with that. I'm very curious about that stat. If that data was released, what do we get from that? Very interesting.
Yeah, so this PAX weekend, they opened up the freelance queue so that solo players could consistently play against each other. Said they had over 1 million games played in each playlist, both freelance and standard everybody, with slightly more games played in the base trials playlist. So even though the freelance had like a good number of games, it also sounds like the base playlist had still a little bit more games played and matches played. Average hours played for lower skilled players is up quite a bit over the past weeks. That's actually a good thing for lower skilled, kind of lower barrier to entry, while the average to top end has almost the same hours played. So that's kind of weird to say lower skilled players' hours are up, average players are about the same, and yet they did say the overall player counts were down each week. So it's like skill level seems to be in a reasonable place, because if you say more casual players are actually playing, I think that's probably a good thing if the average is still the same. Interestingly, players who played in a fire team some of the time and solo some of the time played almost 3 times as long this weekend as players who either played exclusive either way. They said player numbers, 244,000 freelance exclusive, 120,000 fire team exclusive, 220,000 played both, and that 25.5% of players went flawless, lower than any revamp week. So before we get into like blowout rates and anything like that, they said average matchmaking times were consistently around 50 seconds for full fire teams and solos, and regularly were about 100 seconds for duos. Obviously, it makes sense. You guys kind of explained why. Sunday Flawless Pool adds about 10 seconds to the Flawless player matchmaking. We are seeing some worrying spikes in matchmaking during times of the smaller sub-pools post-Flawless pool split. So yeah, before I talk about blowouts, anything from you guys there that you can interpret from those numbers, like decent populations, flawless percent, anything? Thoughts?
Gents. Start, I guess, again.
You're just like, cool, their numbers. Yay.
Their numbers. Yay, data. What you thinking?
That's kind of how I feel, too. I feel like they didn't give us they didn't give us enough information for us to draw any, like, super meaningful conclusions. At least,
that's kind of, like, that's how I'm feeling.
Yeah, I mean, the first week, like they said, average trials games per player, like there's a chart. The first week, it looks like average trials games per trials player. Week 1 was like 37, 38. Week 2 dropped to about 28. Week 3 was about the same. Week 4 was about the same. Week 5 was a little less, probably like 24, 23. And then week 6 actually bumped up a little bit to about 26. So I'd actually see a bump up in trial average games.
Because of freelance. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's like more games. But the one I thought was interesting is they said the people who played a mix of both.
Both. Yeah, that was interesting.
They played 3 times as long. And honestly, I think that's kind of a way for, take somebody like Travis to see if he's willing. Well, normally he'll play with his fire team when they're on and around, and that's when he's going to play because, schedules and everything. But then now, if every so often he's just like, I got a little bit time before breakfast or before I go to bed, let me pop in for a couple solo matches. You actually get the option to jump in both playlists that way, and it gives you a little more flexibility to go hardcore with the 3s. And then, like, I don't have anybody on right now, but I want to get a couple in. Let's see what happens in solo just for entertainment. Like, I think that actually did work to some benefit to truly have that solo option. I wonder why that specifically was like such a big standout versus when, freelance wasn't there, when you could queue in either way as a solo. But is it like, were you more curious? Was it people wanted to check out the playlist? What do you guys think?
Yeah, that was strange to me. That one I was surprised by that, because I'm trying to understand the mindset. Whereas I was thinking that when the solo queue launched, that obviously you're going to get an influx of players playing it. And I get that. But for people to go solo and then say, I still want to do the fire team as well, it's interesting. I don't know what to make of that. It was just very strange to me. I didn't expect that. What you thinking?
I think for players that know trials, which are probably the people that are doing this since they're playing so much, right? Mm-hmm. It's like if you were playing in that first week and you had a fire team, and you were on the side of I'm going to play only with a fire team and stomp people that aren't in a fire team. Then if your fire team's not there, you basically just don't play, or you play a different mode. Maybe you go into comp freelance, because you're not going to go in and just like willingly get stomped. But if there's this other playlist that's freelance only, and your team's not around, then I would be willing to hop in, because at least I know it's an equal playing field. It's not as bad of an experience.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So I think it's probably what it is.
That's probably what it is. I think
that's definitely what it is. I think I didn't even think about that until you said that.
Yeah, I agree, Trav.
No, I was gonna say that just sounds like it has some benefits of the freelance being there, giving you the option to know that like not gonna get totally stomped. At least there's some time like for a random one-off. The next thing they talk about is blowouts. So when they're talking about 5-0s, 5-1s, was almost as low as our best post prevamp week when Flawless Pool went active Friday at like 27%. This was powered by significant number of fire teams versus fire team matches and solos versus solos, both of which had 25% blowout rate. So they go through a bunch of stats of like what matches fall into 5-0, 5-1, 5-2, 5-3, 5-4. And the main thing they state somewhere later on, I'll probably get to it. They're trying to get 2020. They're trying to get it to be 20% on all those. They're trying to get it to where the skill somehow, or don't say skill because that'll piss everybody off, but they're trying to get to where we'll get to that discussion here in a little bit because I've been watching some tweets that are interesting. 5-0 games in the freelance playlist are 25 for 5-0. 5-1 is 26.1. 5-2, 20.4. 5-3, 15.6. 5-4, 12.4. The regular playlist, 5-0 games, 30%. 5-1, 25. 5-2, 18. 5-3, 13. 5-4, 11. It's like a bigger range, but it falls like faster down. It's weird.
Yeah.
They said one thing they aren't happy with is the team balancing. We've noticed that how the solo playlist isn't doing a great job balancing teams when there aren't any fire team mismatches. For trials, it's currently just picking teams randomly. Shocking, because we all literally just described it could be who knows how it feels.
Yep.
We are going to be looking carefully at how teams are selected over the next few weeks and hopefully have a better balance the next time freelance rolls around. This was one of the downsides of not using skill-based matchmaking in trials. Situations where skill would be helpful to balance two teams of solo players. It isn't even a data point the system can look at. Speaking of which, talk about freelance futures. We like the overall outcome and the vibe of the freelance queue, and both playlists seems to have a kind of viable amount of players. We are looking at running freelance occasionally for the remainder of season 15. Thumbs up for me there that it's every so often, but are still trying to determine what feels right. We'll let you know. Long term, we're exploring some single playlist solutions, preferential matchmaking of full fire teams against full fire teams, duo +1, and then solos. They don't have a specific release target for that. But it will not be prior to season 16. And I guess I got to ask my question is, why is that not now? If freelance is not going to be around now, why is that matchmaking not already a priority? Like, fire teams should be playing fire teams every time, in my opinion, if the option is there. If it's one playlist, if it's one pool, team, 2-1, full solos. Because the advantages swing really fast in solos, even if you're like all solos versus.
Yo, that look wild funny from my side, son. He back. Yo, they had you. They had you out of pocket, man.
Hey, tell me about the advantages.
Tell us the.
Somebody, can that be the thumbnail for this?
My ISP is just giving me so many memes tonight.
Oh no, it's classic. That was classic.
Anyway, whenever this stream is awful, and I'm so sorry to everybody, but it's what the uploads and the audio for. You guys will get the good ones with the jokes in between.
Yes.
What was I saying?
You're talking about why is
so like if you're a team of 3 solos, and then you pair against even a pair, if they're in the same clan and they know each other, that's already a disadvantage because 2 out of 3 at least can play together, and then you have the unknown like idiot who runs in or the person who hangs back, but still that advantage gets big. And then the 2 versus 3 is again another big leap in advantage. I guess I wanted to ask you guys, why not do that now? why do you think they're not doing it now? Because to me, it seems like an obvious thing to do. I know there's not skill-based, but I mean, that does seem to be pew pew fingers indeed.
Punish the
Apparently
solo
that's stuck
players.
What is that?
That's why they're not doing it now, to punish the Ebontises of the world.
To punish
An intentional choice.
It's
That's
specifically
harsh.
against you.
Yeah.
This is specifically
They're like,
against you, yes.
that guy Ebontis, that stupid cheetah guy that we keep hearing about every so often. He tweeted at DMG and caused it a fire on Twitter. Yeah, let's piss on his
Oh, he
parade.
botting. He botting bad. Damn.
Ebontis.
Ebontis.
There we go, Trav.
Ebontis.
Great minds.
There we
Eboo.
go.
Great minds, Protheon.
There we go. All right, he's back.
What up?
The only thing I could think of is like matchmaking times. I mean, other than that, I don't know why they wouldn't just do fire team, solo versus solo.
Yeah.
Matchmaking times, technical limitations, since it's not an Eververse. Who knows? Lots of
the Eververse factor.
yeah. Well, it's not an Eververse, so it can have technical limitations.
All the silver that's being bought for the Dino armor is going towards the Trials matchmaking. That's what they're going to use that money for.
Okay,
So
so let me
kids
ask
are
you guys
Dino.
this. So let me ask you guys
Yeah.
this. They say, and again, stream is who knows what's going to happen. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one later on. Somebody's driving by outside. Damn, you have a,
It wasn't me this time.
No, that was
Wasn't me this
Travis.
time.
He had like a truck outside.
Motorcycle.
Motorcycle,
Normally
yeah.
it's me.
Travis
I
is
claim
actually in the
ownership.
back of a trailer right now.
It's like driving
He's
along.
already on the highway.
Travis is really remote right now. What's your
No,
question?
but like, okay, so 50 seconds seems to be like their matchmaking number they have. And I guess they're trying to keep it under a minute if possible. But it's like, I don't know what matchmaking is like for, say, for other things, or you go into battle royals and you take a while to build up the 100, and then you got the loadings that like, that stuff takes minutes to get into. I'm like, would you wait 30, 40 more seconds for quality matches if it just takes a little while to get there?
I mean, it's a tough spot. I mean, I personally would, right? But they're in this tough spot because there was such pushback against skill-based matchmaking because of connection. And the problem I see that they're having is that Trials theoretically should be skill-based matchmaking.
Yeah.
Theoretically, it should have people of equal skill facing each other. So, I'm very curious. And again, technical limitations and the jokes we have, but it's like, I'm very curious with, the lack of dedicated servers and things of that nature, that things that, other games should have. But they're in a tough spot because to me, I look at this and it screams skill based to me. It screams, it's like, you need to get that in this mode, right? Thus, you're going to keep playing with the data. You're going to keep having these random things. And I think that this is the issue right now. The issue is twofold. This is how I look at them. One was they came into it, we cannot do this mode without the cheating, right? Box checked. Anti-cheat for the most part.
Seems to be like, I don't hear about
Right.
it.
I don't
really
hear about the
it
craziness,
much.
right?
Like, it seems tamped
Then
down.
the second pillar they had was, okay, population is dead, right? We got to get on board and we got to get the ease of entry, the accessibility, and all this other stuff, right? So now we're kind of there. These two pillars seem at least solid from the data they have, right? But the third pillar now is what we've been preaching, which is skill, which is matching people fairly and doing the right thing. And I don't know if it's a technical limitation or why, because the only thing I can think of is I remember the
dedicated servers.
Right. We know it's dedicated servers, but I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice, right? But I remember the days when they tried skill base and the PvP community was like, nah, bro,
that was
hate this.
different though. So that was a true skill-based system, but it was a black box solution that seemed to be based off of playtime and was not the same. What they really need is a seasonal rank-based system.
Of course,
they do not need skill-based matchmaking. They need ranks like in Rocket League, because then I just think that they couldn't probably sustain that type of model if they implemented it in Trials before, because the population was so low. But right now they might be able to do it. So
and that's my question.
I don't know, man.
I would love to see.
Go ahead, Brody.
I would love to see a ranked system, kind of like how Apex does it. I think Apex's system is really, really nice. And
Yes.
like the competitive mode or the competitive playlist needs that really badly. And even if not that, just the trials playlist or like in
just the
general,
trials.
like you
Just
just
trials,
need,
yeah.
we just need something. I mean,
I agree.
I feel like they've been struggling with like how they want to do matchmaking in Destiny ever since its launch.
Forever.
I mean, there's still games of regular Crucible I'll play where like the team balance is like the lobby balance is like terrible.
Nightmare.
Iron Banner is a nightmare all the time. I generally don't have fun in Iron Banner anymore sometimes because lobby balancing is all over the place.
Blowouts, don't they? Like Iron Banner feels like
even in Freelance
and Mercies.
Yeah.
And
then they like tried that one.
I'm the type of guy who thinks that there should be a competitive rank and a social rank. You should have two
Take
ranks
it back to
every
old school
season.
Halo. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
Old
the
school
competitive
Halo,
rank should apply to trials. It should apply to comp, maybe Iron Banner,
agree.
and then the social playlist will apply to every other competitive playlist, and you just increase your rank over time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would serve them better because again, it's not even about the game mode. It's about the experience of playing with people that are way above your level or way below you. There's some people who really like just like pub stomping, which I do not understand why people enjoy that. But I think we can all agree that at least 50% of the people in a lopsided match are not having a good time. Probably more. I also don't really get particularly happy when I'm just destroying a team that's way below my skill level. So I just think it could benefit everyone if they implemented something like that. But
so that's kind of like
Cog, good reference. Old school Halo 2. Right?
Yeah, for sure. One
like,
of the best Halo.
And that's one of those I wonder is like, so when you say connection, that I get when it comes to skill. Because if you're in a higher skill level and higher you get, then potentially you're playing people that are worse and worse connection because it's having to search farther and farther. I get that to a point. And that's again where when you talk about a playlist, people are worried about dividing up the pool. Well, is there going to be pushback if you divide up the pool into these like bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond ranks? And you're like, okay, well, here's this. My population's somewhere around here, but half of this population's all over the world.
Yeah,
so
matchmaking is going to be longer. That's just going to have to. I mean, that's just the nature of it, right? Sorry to interrupt, but I think see the problem they're having is philosophically. I get the impression that they like the idea of quickly matching. They like that.
It seems like they mention it multiple
they
times
mention it
in
every
here.
week. They like, yo, the times. And my thing is, I'm with Travis. I'm willing to wait for a more balanced match in any type of mode.
I think a lot of people aren't. I think a lot of people
That's
aren't.
probably what it is.
I think gamers have very short attention span, and they've seen metrics that just drop off when people have long matchmaking wait times.
Yeah,
because I'm sure it's something that they're a lot more worried about than the hardcore. Like you and I would wait for 5 minutes. You know,
I'm guilty of it because I remember the Halos, systems, and it's just like I'm cool. I'm cool with waiting whatever. Because again, it's gonna be more to someone of my skill level, and that seems to be the data they are hanging on to. And that's the question: if they're going to put the resource or whatever technical issue that they need to do to implement the skill or the ranking so that it can have the type of matches that we're talking about for these type of modes. But I'm sorry, I totally cut you off. I know you're about to say something.
No, I mean that does pretty much cover it. It's because it's like I'm trying to figure out where all this is going to land, and you guys are talking about time comes up multiple times. I'm like, I know, like there's times like I'll wait for a strike, I'll go grab a cup of water and come back, and there's other times it goes pretty quick. It's like sometimes that stuff just takes a little longer, but it's like, again, the issue I would say probably the high end of people would worry about would be connection. And when you bring that up, that's probably one of the only pieces when it comes to the high skill system that it worries about, that I would say a high skill player would have a legitimate concern about. Because if you are playing with lag central, like that sucks. It does. Like that.
Factual. Yeah.
That I get. But as you said on the other side, somebody tweeted out and like I replied, it was like legitimate question. Like, when should I, as like an average at best player, play against an upper echelon player? And this is a question for anybody. When do you guys think
Every
I
match
should
until you quit?
Travis.
So, like, okay, legitimately though, like Protheon, do you think I should ever face that person in my current skill in any game mode?
Ideally, No. But if you look like realistically, it's gonna happen. I mean, that's how I feel about it. I don't have much more to say. Like it's just that's how things
About
are.
20% of the time, apparently, according to the stats.
Oh, really?
Well, when you have a blowout
20%
match,
of the times are shutout.
Oh, true. Okay.
20%.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel that way. I'm actually surprised that they said that they want 20% on each of those.
No, they said 0 on the blowout. They want 20% on all
but
the
20%
other ones, right? Yeah. Didn't they say in the post that they were shooting for 0% on the blowout?
Yeah, I'm
matches?
trying to.
I might have misread
in
that.
an ideal world, we want to get each one of those numbers to as close to 20% as possible, but we would rather see more 5-4 outcomes than 5-1. So they'd like to see an average of 20s, like for a pretty even split, but even tipping more towards 5-4 and 5-3. Right now, it's tipping 5-0, 5-1. So they want to shift those numbers to the other side of where they are right now. That's their in-game goal.
I think they want there to be like 5-0s, which makes sense. Like it's just not fun if you're winning 0 rounds.
Yeah. Yeah. I lost my chain of thought.
No, you good. You good.
Travis, what do you think?
I was gonna say, and I was like, Cog, do you think I should ever face like?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know. Like, do you think I should be facing the Merculeses, the Camis, the Drewskis? Do you think I should be in a trials match where they're in it?
You can destroy him, Ebontis. Don't talk down to yourself.
Got this.
You don't know about this long-running segment that we have.
Mercules uses Lemon Arc. You're fine. So it's a bow, right?
I will tell you this right now. If you go into a match and somebody on the other side is using a bow, you better pay attention because because if they're smart, if they're good enough with a bow, they're good.
Bro, anytime it's funny you said that. Every freelance and I saw somebody on my team with a bow, I was like, oh, we got this. Like, they are savages. Like, I don't even know how that's done. I'm like, I am rocking with you. Yeah, I agree. The bow dudes, you got to worry about.
Well, it was funny. I was listening to Firing Range, and Merc said, because he was using the Layman Arc for a while, not even as much for the poison. He said he likes to use it as a sniper. So with Oathkeepers, you can hold it drawn. So he's got a lane and just let's go. Oh, and that way he's got it ready, and then they can, as you said, Protheon, you can switch to the quick switch to the hand cannon, get the one tap, and they can almost die.
Right.
But yeah, it's like Oathkeeper's full draw. It's literally just the end of a sniper. You're just waiting to release and get somebody one shot. Right. He's one shot.
And, and then you got the data because they're ticking as to where they are, right? So it's ultimate. It's so
I don't
savage.
fear much in trials, but I do fear people who are good with Le Monarch. Anytime I see somebody with equipped, I'm like, oh, I hope that they're just flexing, because most people aren't good with it, but when they are, it's deadly, man.
Deadly.
It's
deadly. The cleanup is so quick. Oh my God. You get dinged and you stick your face back, it's a wrap. Do not. You got to I'm out. As soon as I get hit with, I'm out.
On the flip side, though, Cog, if you have somebody on your team with Le Monarch, that's just, you know what I'm doing? I'm following that guy around and I am kill stealing all
I'm kill stealing. I'm bringing the snitches out. I'm dropping riffs. Would you like a riff, sir? Would you like a riff? Here's my getaway artist. Would you like that? I'll hook him up. I'll give him the best treatment, man. I'll give him the best treatment.
All right. So before we kind of get to the end of this, there's one more thing. Flawless pool changes, and then I want to read a couple tweets to go with them and just kind of get the overall group's thoughts. We're close to 2 hours, so there's not honestly too much else after this, so we will kind of wrap it here.
No doubt, no doubt.
The Flawless pool, which we have been enabling Sunday at reset, has some very positive benefits. It raises overall match quality, blowout rates significantly, and it raises the overall win rates for solo players. However, it has some drastic downsides. For players who struggle and manage to barely go flawless, it is a steep cliff to then only play against players who have already gone flawless that week. It also incentivizes the behavior that is at odds with the mode and reward system, like resetting a flawless 6-win ticket to keep getting easier matches. It also creates social friction where players need to decide between playing with friends or playing for rewards. Lastly, the 10 a.m. Pacific on Sundays is awkward if you live anywhere but the Americas. Starting tomorrow, we are rolling out a new system and leaning into weekly performance metrics. Whenever you match in trials, in addition to trying to match people with the same number of card wins, you will also attempt to match with people who have roughly the same number of overall wins for the weekend. If you can't find anyone to match against, it will eventually expand out to find you a less similar match. For the PvP gods who go flawless 10 times a weekend, they will end up matching with other players who have, for example, 70 plus wins on their cards, no matter how they got them. For the average team who gets a lucky flawless in on Friday or Saturday on their first card, well, they will be matched against players with around 7 wins, no matter how they got them. We are hoping this will give us many of the benefits of the flawless pool system, somewhat fairer matches, without the significant downsides. Specifically, there should be no major inflection point where everything is smooth prior to a win and then everything is overly challenging afterwards. While this does allow us to remove the flawless pool, it does have a potential downside. Longer matchmaking times. Once again,
that's what they worry about. Yep. I see they keep focusing on that. We
think there's a reasonable trade-off here between match quality and matchmaking time. Average trials matchmaking times currently sit around 50 seconds. Over the next few weekends, we are going to be looking at how much matchmaking time goes up and if it affects the match quality. The outcomes in all previous labs, it's just numbers. Told you guys they're leaning right now to the 5051s. They want them to get more to the 5453s. As always, we are going to be listening closely to your feedback. So that being said, keep that in the back of your mind. There's a couple tweets I saw. One, Triple Red. And he basically just replied to replacing Flawless Pool. He said, how to remove carries without saying you want to remove carries.
Oh.
That's one. Grenader Jake, removing any form of replayability.
Mm-hmm.
A PvP that hinges on top tier players carrying everyone else isn't good for the system. Those are some pushbacks. And then Mercules actually had a really good one I wanted to read as well, because even Kevin mentioned that one. One sec.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm still here. Hopefully.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I get nervous when you don't move.
No, that's fair. My ISP is trying to sign. Yeah, I just got like devil horns tonight. It's cool. What's up, guys?
Get nervous. It's good. It's good. Okay.
That's gonna be your new freeze moment. Like whenever you freeze on stream.
Can we do that at the end of the show? Can we say this has been the last word?
The last word.
Yeah, I like that.
Put the L's up.
I gotta find his, and I'll look for it, and then somebody else too. Okay. But he had a good just kind of breakdown of some things. So definitely, I'll see if I can find one tweet I saw, but he's actually got a lot of replies. Maybe he had a specific one. But I wanted to get you guys' thoughts, kind of get, and this is kind of where the whole skill-based matchmaking, and this is done by, again, anything but skill-based matchmaking. Now they're going by wins. So here's the thing. Take that person who played 184 matches. I don't know how many they won, per se.
28. It
was 28?
Yeah.
Okay.
He had his amount of wins. It was he won 28 out of 184 matches.
That's not a lot, by the way. That's not a lot. But on the other side,
it might be a lot comparatively, though. I mean, you can go flawless 4 times in 28 matches. You know what I mean? So, like the thing is, most people don't play 184 win or lose.
No,
you know what I mean? So 28 wins is a lot.
Right.
Like for me. Yeah, like the amount I play on a typical weekend is like 7 matches. It's like enough to go flawless, and then I log off. So if I played an 8th match, the guy with 28 wins would technically be above me, which is crazy.
That's kind of, so I wanted to get you, so get your guys' takes, and that's like a prime example of that dude who just played a lot and occasionally stacked up a win. Granted, it seems like it's going to get harder and harder now, but again, if you occasionally get, paired with those random people, or jump in with a pair of gods every so often, like the longer you play, and again, that's why some of them are playing like the replayability, the long term, taking away carries is one thing. I know they're trying to push some of those away, but I was like, oh, Cog, what do you think on this one? I'm kind of curious. They're
in that spot. They're in that spot again. And look, the spirit of what they were trying to do with the flawless pool, I understood. But the problem is, Destiny is a huge streaming community, a huge carry community. That's part of trials. That's part of the allure. You some people, who feel like, hey, I'm never going to be good. I'm never going to go to the lighthouse. Match me up with, whatever, True Vanguard, Fallout Play, all those guys, right? And it's just like, that's a part of it. And the thing is that part of Flawless Pool does kill that community, because it's going to be a harder time. It's going to be a tougher time. And I don't know how they feel about that because they still going on with Flawless Pools. This doesn't seem to be going away. That's the vibe I got. This does not seem to be going away. And I wonder if they look at it as a vocal minority. And sometimes Bungie, they get themselves in these positions where it's like, they say, hey, we look at the data, we look at the overall numbers, and we see blah, blah, blah is opposite to what these streamers are saying, right? And again, remember what I always said, when it comes to data and analytics, the problem is sometimes when you look at things in a vacuum and you're having success, you're less likely to change. You're less likely to change when you're having success. And right now, they're having success with population. They're having success without the anti-cheat. And I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel, trust me, I feel those guys. I feel Merc. I feel Triple. I hear where they're coming from.
Well, see, Merc's kind of on the other side. I finally found a decent one.
Merc, okay, please. I'm very curious about what Merc has to say.
So he said, I think people are really overestimating the amount of difficulty wins are going to add to the experience under approximately 30 wins or so. The bell curve is going to end up with a lot of players under that, and the matchmaking pool won't start to narrow down on skill until much higher win totals. So like your 70s, your carries, your, people who go flawless 20 times in a weekend because, and that's kind of the thing. If more people are kind of in this average level, and then if you start, kind of bumping out of it, the average person's going to have a little better time, and somebody keeps winning, and some of the high, like the more wins, then the more average, and they might get a little more. It does feel like it's got some graduality to it. And I think the one thing that they did mention is that team that happens to go flawless was screwed in the flawless pool. Now, granted, they said the flawless pool was intended to be temporary. I totally get that. But now, as they said, there is no cliff. There is no well, I got it, but now I'm totally done. So that's not going to be a thing. Protheon, I want to get your thoughts on this one just because, again, PvP experience, even depending on how much time you have to play, like where do you fall in all this and where do you think are they going in a good direction?
I don't know if it's a good direction, but it's definitely a direction. I understand what Cog was saying, how it could potentially kill that community, but however there is the majority of players playing trials probably aren't being carried or carrying other people. It's just casual players playing. And I think that's who you really have to cater to, is those players who aren't looking to be carried, or the small minority of people that do carry. I think majority of players are just going into play, and I think that'll be a better experience for them. And my other thought is, remember when they nerfed aim assist on PC or whatever, and everyone was freaking out, and everyone was like, oh, I forgot that happened. I feel like this could be one of these scenarios. I do.
Not going to be as big
of a deal. I don't think it's going to be as big as a deal as people might think. That's my current theory on this. I don't think it's going to have as big as an impact as some of these people's thoughts are having.
Oh, fair enough, Trav.
Yeah, I'm curious what Trav has to say.
Yeah, I think it is a bad system. I don't think it's a bad system for the reason that people think that it is, though, for the reason that streamers do. I think it's a bad system because people like myself, it doesn't really fix the problem, right? Like people like myself who only play 7 or 8 matches and then go flawless and then jump in the same pool as them aren't playing against the people who played 184 matches and have 28 wins. And I just don't think your overall wins is a sign of your skill. I just think the system is inherently, it's not balanced, and it could hurt the streamers for sure. But I think it's also equally likely to hurt the people who are just playing a lot casually and happen to have accrued a lot of wins. And it makes your experience more likely to be not fun the more you play in a weekend, right? Because if you're getting wins and not going flawless, then by the end of the weekend, you're like, all right, well, now I'm definitely not going flawless because I'm only playing with the people who've been playing a lot, right? And I just think that is a problem. The second point, though, of like, is this bad for streamers? Like, are you making your game for players or are you making it for streamers? Really? At some point, you have to kind of decide that. And I've always been on the side of like, streamers, you guys are going to be fine. You guys are going to figure it out. You're streamers. You're good at the game. You're fine. and you're also profiting off of the game. I don't think you're in any real danger, but the casuals who drop out of the game because your game isn't designed well or because you're listening too much to streamers and catering the game to them is not how you make a game. It's not how you build a coalition of people who love Destiny. And so I think they should absolutely not build their designs around what works for streamers. I think streamers are going to be okay. But that said, I think the problems with the system have nothing to do with that. I just think amount of playtime and amount of wins does not correlate to like skill, a rank or skill-based system, and that this isn't a long-term solution. So give it a try, Bungie. I hope you get some good data out of it, but I don't think this is going to be the long-term solution.
It's a weird solution too, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of strange.
Yeah. It's similar to the way that they were doing skill-based matchmaking, which was like overall amount of matches played versus matches lost and stuff like that, which is just like, all right, so if you play the game a lot, you end up in a higher skill bracket. It's like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So, which leads to the bigger question, which I completely agree with you guys, is that, you know, my thing is I always go big picture at this point. Why is that? Why are you constantly avoiding, you know, putting in the skill system, right? Why we're doing all these different things, every other thing under the sun except that. And you might like this, but it's like technical issue, server issue, reinvestment on a bigger level to accommodate that need. And to me, that goes back into this whole, the D3, D2 bag and, staying with what you have. And is it something because, infrastructure is antiquated, or, you know what I mean? Like, what is it that we're trying everything else other than like what Apex is doing? Everything else other than what Halo used to do that you created. You guys made that. Yeah. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like Bungie. Right. So that, to me, I always think big picture. And I again, don't claim to be a dev. Don't know. I don't like disrespecting dev, but it's very interesting to me why the avoidance. And is it because long term they intend to stay with this system and they really can't change infrastructure stuff? Thus, we have things like Vault, DCV, and other stuff that we can't get away from because of these constraints. And that's the question for me. I would love to be a fly on the wall in those rooms.
I bet the reason they don't do it, Cog, is because, one, they're not a dedicated server game, and skill or rank-based systems become harder to manage when you're not dedicated servers.
That's what I think.
I think the other reason is part of the culture when you have a rank-based system is people go on sprees of losing matches on purpose to de-rank themselves. And that was a big problem in the Halo 2 days. People would just like put themselves in a queue and then betrayal their own teammates for like 3 hours to rank themselves down so that they could play against people of lower skill and just like just destroy them.
We ran out of medals type situations.
Yeah. And I think you have to probably put some safeguards in there where when somebody reaches a new threshold, they can't go more than like one down so that they can't like truly game the system. There's ways to do it, but I think there's just probably limitations. And I think the bigger issue is that they're not that invested in comp. I mean, we've talked about that on the show a lot, but the changes they're making to trials and this refurbishing, they're all very easy stuff to do. It's like very small changes, adding matchmaking to a game mode, that sort of thing. But they haven't really doubled down and said this is a PvP game and that's like a big part of it and we're going to build systems to support it. They've never really taken that step, and I think until they do, we probably won't see any significant changes like that.
I don't want to go to the extreme that they don't try to do things and things are easy. I'm not going to go to that extreme, but I do agree with you that they just, again, I got to look at your actions, right? You know, that's all I can do. I can just look at your actions. Your actions say otherwise. Your actions say that, this is the first season. I'll be honest, I'm shocked at the last 3 weeks we keep talking about. I'm like, wow, we still talk about this. Wow, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm shocked. Like, this is the most PvP I've been getting for 3 to 4 weeks. I'm almost like, damn, we're going to talk about something else because it's all you talk about is trials, Bungie. So salute to that, right? Salute to that. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just like, that's why I've been in that mode. I know we had our past discussions where just like, with this current infrastructure, with the staying with Destiny 2, their actions are showing they don't intend to make this the competitive game. That's how I got to look at them. And it's up to me as a player to say, hey, do I choose to stay in it and love you for what you are with all your warts? You know what I'm saying? Or do I get my competitive fix elsewhere? And I've made that decision, honestly, since like, I don't know, Shadowkeep. You know what I'm saying? Like, with Shadowkeep, it wasn't like no maps coming. It was like, we've been, you know, it's the father now, the neglected father-child relationship. You know what I'm saying? It just, I've always felt, but now you're spending time with us. You come in every weekend, you're dropping a gift off and a little toy here and a trials thing here.
Yeah.
What you got? Go ahead, Protheon. What you think?
Really curious when they're just going to be like, Trials is good right now. And then go to comp.
It's in a good place.
Where is it going to land? To be like, when's the last time they're like,
yes,
we think we've landed in a good spot, and people are going to be like, really?
Yeah. Because it sounds like they want to go from like really focused on Trials, and they said Iron Banner is kind of like the next step, and then the comp playlist is down the road. I'm just really curious when they're going to be like, okay, we think Trials is okay right now. It's time to move on to the next thing. Will that ever happen? I don't know.
Yeah, I was
looking for that blog post. I think it would be fun.
No, blog Trials. We're good.
I want to see
on.
Travis's face on that blog post. You know what, guys? We did it. I want to see his face for that one.
No, yeah, Civatech actually.
Guys. We made it.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Big L's tonight. ISP doing this tonight for me.
I'm imagining guns. I'm imagining it's like the last word guns, not the L's, because he was like doing like the.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, the guns. You're right.
No, but Civatech actually had
a speech.
Yeah. Civatech said, basically the way I'm rating these changes, I shouldn't even attempt Trials until as late as possible. Let the rest of the players weed themselves out of my win bracket. He said Bungie needs to make people excited and want to play Trials as much as possible. This isn't it. And then for Travis, you'll appreciate this one. True Vanguard. It's looking like Bungie's vision for Trials is that it will be an activity for players to engage with until they get their loot, hang out for a little bit, and then dip. Which, if that's their goal for this mode, that's fine, but Bungie absolutely needs to make good on their promise to make standard PvP a real priority, with new maps and game modes and a competitive overhaul, that we have something to go back to when we're done with Trials that's still worth engaging with. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah. 100%. True Vanguard is correct. Like, if Trials is going to be casual, that's fine. I've never been like a elitist about Trials being the mode and it has to be a walled garden or whatever. It's just that I want there to be a competitive mode. And I think, Cog, hopefully what they're doing right now is they're just experimenting and they're getting ready for a proper overhaul that adds some of the infrastructure that they would need to make comp real. And I think part of that would probably be moving over to dedicated servers finally, and also having some sort of ranking system involved. But I don't know if they're going to do that. I think for now they're having fun and they're experimenting and all that. And I think that's better than nothing, which is what we were getting before.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I tend to agree that this is not the solution, right?
Yeah, these are the half measures and experimentation phase, and I'm just like, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. If we get
Bungie's in college right now, Cog.
They're
experimenting.
Exactly. That's
how
I look at
it. They're still ahead of New World right now because there was a bug that dropped today.
Yeah.
So they were messing with the wars and there's a bunch of lag going on. Well, whatever they did to some stuff, they took there's a healing circle you can stand in to have healing tick over time. Well, if you teabag the healing circle, it refills your life as fast as you can, basically go up and squat and stay. It's like, bink. I was like, and this is for
because I've been doing that anyway for years.
Teabagging, cool. At least I know what type of player you are.
I've got tons of practice in that.
Yeah, he's got these guys.
Well, then you guys will be experts in New World.
Finally, in-game benefits for what I've been doing.
Yeah,
finally, Bungie listened.
Halo has finally taught me everything I need to know about gaming.
Exactly.
Being a PvP god.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as my connection is trying to shoot itself in the face, I am sorry for the stream tonight, everybody. Hopefully, the video uploads; those will be smooth whenever they get uploaded. Because I don't even know what my upload speed is like. I think that's pretty much where that kind of covers everything for the week. Is there anything else you guys wanted to touch on? Protheon especially, is there anything else? Cog, what were you going to say?
No, real quick, I was just going to say shout out to the new community manager, I believe.
Yes.
Liana. That was
Liana,
dope.
That was cool.
Dirty Effin' Hippie is her Twitter handle. So go follow her.
Yeah, I
Wow,
saw
I'm
some
gonna
some
go
mentions,
follow
and
that person.
I was very honored and humbled to see, Ty Guy E. We got a little mention. People were like, "Yo, y'all need to go check out The Last Word." They were they were
was awesome.
directing her to here, and I thought that was really cool to see people, because I think she put out a tweet like, kind of, "Hey, who's who you guys feel should be bigger and more deserving," and I saw a lot of the community do that. So shout out to everybody who
Wait,
did
I
that.
know this person.
Oh,
Liana?
Does she work for IGN? I know Liana. I was like, okay, I'm already following her, so I must know her somehow because I don't really follow that many people.
Connections.
How do I know this person?
Connections.
That's crazy.
Let's go, Hollywood.
Oh,
Come
she
on
worked.
now.
She worked for Game Informer. That's what
Oh, okay, that's what it is. Inform.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah, the GI
CBS,
days.
which was CBS was one.
Yeah,
of
I think
those.
it's awesome that they have another community manager on the team. I mean, it's a huge community, so
No
more
doubt.
people on that team is
Yeah.
good.
Yes, huge. Good day. Good
A
day.
lot of work. Besides, Cosmo needs somebody else to go into the Reddit posts and deliver the bad news from now on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Poor Cosmo, dude. I swear they give him the bad stuff to say.
Yes.
Yeah, they
Yes.
He's I guess
He's the leader.
he gets the fun ones.
He's the vanguard.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's got to step in front of the army.
Well,
Perfect.
Protheon, it has been a pleasure
like-
having you. I'm so sorry my ISP has made streaming not the greatest, but people will be finding this thing fill their audio holes and, their eyeballs,
Audio holes.
ears.
Audio holes. This guy's from a different planet. He
Yeah.
doesn't know about.
No, the secret's out. I'm an invader.
Mhm.
No, but as people come across this one, best thing is let people know where to find you. Let people know where to send their tank memes. All the good things that can come your way. The floor is yours. Basically, anything you got going on, where to find you, what you do, all that stuff. Let them know.
Yeah, so you could find me on Twitter at Protheon_, because the at Protheon account is by some Russian dude who has not used the account since 2015
Don't you hate
and has
that?
tweeted 7 things.
Love it.
So I haven't gotten the actual Protheon account. So it's
feel you,
Protheon_.
I
And
feel
you
you.
could also find me on Twitch. I've been starting to stream more often. You could find me Xprotheon, twitch.tv/Xprotheon. But
Does
those
somebody
are
have
really the only
Protheon
places
there
you could
too?
find me. No, I tried to. I want like Xprotheon to be like a more mainstream thing.
No.
Actually, probably someone does have Protheon. So sure, we'll say yeah. Yeah. So those are the 2 places you could find me.
Nice.
No doubt, man. Salute to you, man. Again, like I said, love that you came on, and obviously very fortunate I got a chance to play with you through matchmaking, which is fun. So I thought that was cool. And I didn't get a chance to talk much about, the poorly timed game stuff and being a social media manager there. And I just think it's cool, to see people keep expanding in the community, and you're very respected out here. Destiny Tracker, we've been using it for a while. Always, get over there, get my info. So salute to you, man. Thank you for coming on. And thanks for waiting 5-10 minutes for my late self. I normally that tardy. So I felt bad. I was like, damn, I want to get the first bad impression of Cog this way. Now, salute to you, man. It was a lot of fun.
Hollywood
Very nice.
strolls
Yeah, it was-
up
it was a lot
fashionably
of fun.
late.
He's always late. Every
Shut up,
every
Travis.
podcast.
He's
He
always
shows up 30 minutes late. He's just like, whatever, guys. I'm the star. You can wait. He does that. Yeah.
you talking that twist water bottle talking.
That's what's in. I'm gonna give you the worst. I'm gonna give you the worst reputation in the industry. Anytime it's like working with Cog, I'll be like, oh my god, dude, he verbally and physically abuses us. Like he's just terrible.
How does
terrible.
he physically abuse you? He literally hires people,
Yeah.
sends them to my house,
Yeah.
and it's a delivery bunch.
Yeah. You know what he yells us at for? If we look him in the eyes, he doesn't like that. He says, "You need to look below my line of eyesight." Always.
Not on the level?
Don't-
Okay,
do
I
not
see what
look
we
me in
doing.
the eyes.
Stare at my
I see what we
chest.
doing.
Yeah.
I see what we doing.
I say it
My
with my
chest,
chest,
my
and you.
Y'all savages. Anyway.
I'm just kidding. Cog
but
is
yeah.
a pleasure to work with, everyone. That's what I'm trying to say.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
thank
bro.
you. Thank you very much for having me on, Ebontis. I mean, you and I have been friends, I'd say, for a few years now, honestly.
Nice. That's dope.
Yeah, and I love the Last Word podcast. Trav, I talked to you a little bit before the show. I listen to the Fire Team chat all the time. I'm a big fan of your work. So it was honored. I'm honored to be on here with you guys. It was great talking with you. Seriously.
It was our pleasure,
No
man.
doubt.
We always
Pleasure.
enjoy,
Yeah.
anybody in the community. And it's awesome to see, like, as you said, we've been talking off and on a little bit here and there for years, to see you now community manager for games and working with Destiny Tracker and just kind of doing stuff that seems like a passion for you. It just seems natural and fit. So I'm glad to see
you,
the
yeah.
Protheon meme turned into a career, which you can't ask for anything
Yes.
better than that. So that's kind of amazing.
Man.
That's great. I really love that Scrappy origin story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great meeting you. And glad that you liked Fireteam Chat. I also really liked that show.
I look forward to your next episode in February.
Yeah.
Or is it going to be December? Do you think you'll do one for Galahorn? Or?
We'll see. I would like us to do it more often, but Dustin, every time I hit him up about a podcast now, he's like, I don't have time.
You don't have time. I know.
He's only got time for
he's like-
Unlocked, and that's it.
He's like Cog then. He's like, I don't have time for you.
Protheon. See, I was like,
I need to send you to my assistant. We got to see.
He's Cog in a couple months. Yeah, a couple months, Cog will be just like Dustin. But yeah, it was great meeting you, Protheon. You know who you remind me of? You look like you look like one of the Ron Weasley brothers. You know, his gang. Have you ever gotten that? Has anybody told you look like you're like related to Ron Weasley a little bit? No?
I've gotten that. I've gotten Rick Astley.
Nice.
I've gotten.
Oh God!
Oh, that
Yes.
you do look like Rick Astley.
Dude,
That's
that is
amazing.
accurate.
That's really
That
good.
was there.
You need
And
to
I've also
embrace
gotten,
that.
What else you got?
Cameron, the guy who plays Cal Kestis in Star Wars Fallen Order.
Oh,
Cameron.
that's
yeah.
a good one.
I think
That's
I
a really
remember
good
you
one.
tweeting
Yeah.
that or something. Almost maybe like I feel like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, at 10,000 followers, I said I'll do whatever the top comment says, and the top comment was a Cal Kestis cosplay. So I actually had
Nice.
one of my friends make the poncho that he wore, and I uploaded a picture on Twitter, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, it really is Cal Kestis." So yeah, Ron Weasley, Cal Kestis, Rick Astley, all the above.
Nice.
Check, that's me.
Nice.
Good. Yeah, it's nice to meet you. You can find me on Twitter at TyGuyTravis. I don't have an underscore. Gotcha, Russians. Yeah, you can read my article.
That's why my ISP
Read
went
these-
to hell and being hacked by the Russians.
That's why.
The
This is why the
Russians
stream
are
is down.
after
Hey,
you.
this is why.
They're-
Because we got to deal with
they're-
Travis and his remarks.
they come for your usernames first, then they attack your ISP. You gotta get out ahead of them, guys. We need to fight back. Yeah, you can find my articles, previews, and reviews on IGN.com. This week, I will actually not this week. On early next week, I'll have my review of Riders Republic up
Nice.
for you to take a look at. Enjoying it so far, though. If you're into extreme sports games, it's very
Nice.
Forza Horizon-esque. And then you can also, in addition to watching this show, which I will promote on this show, the last word, tell your friends, guys.
Talk to him.
If you're
Talk to
watching
him.
this,
If you're watching,
Next-
tell your friends.
next episode, I want you to here's your homework assignment. Bring one other person into the stream to
Look at that.
to
Look
watch
at
the
that.
show with you and comment with them and introduce us to them. Look at that.
Look at that. A+
Cog and I
promo.
on the same
A+
side
marketing.
for once.
Love
That's
that,
right.
my man. That's what I'm
That's
talking
right.
about. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be great.
Yeah, don't forget to fight back against Russia, and also you can watch me on Bitcast on Sundays at 8 a.m. Pacific. Although this week we are actually doing our show on Saturday night instead because we're doing a Halloween episode where we're all going to be in costume as our favorite video game characters. So get ready for that. I'm very excited. That's tomorrow night, so I'll be back tomorrow night to do it.
I was waiting for some Dan slander. I thought Dan slander was coming. Coming.
I was gonna get there, and you can also you can watch me and my friend Ames and this other guy who's the last living descendant of Bigfoot is there as well. So yeah, good times. Good times.
Yo,
What do you got going on, Cog?
Yo, I gotta let Dan hear this slander you be giving him. It's so hilarious.
I'm gonna make a compilation of all of them.
We need to splice it and send it. The one that you called him a wizard, I lost it. That was the funniest.
Homeless
joke.
wizard.
Yeah, homeless wizard. I love that joke. Oh, yo, Gatsby. Definitely. Defining Duke. We had a cool one. Did a second mailbag, which was fun. Kind of like an Ask Cog anything. People asked the wildest questions. I had fun though. It was a lot of fun.
Have you used a bidet yet?
No, and I refuse. They on me. They don't like that I'm anti-team today. But if you want more
Anti-clean booty. I don't know. That's not a good team to be on.
Look,
Gotta
I
have a clean
see it
booty.
every day.
I'm on Cog's team. There's other ways to get clean. Jesus.
I'm just giving him a hard time. I've literally never used one, but I would at least try it once. That's all I'm saying. Like it might be weird, but I'd be like, "Will you try this one time?" Sure. Just give me some paper towel in case.
Speaking
Well,
of
Ebontis would try a lot of stuff one time.
oh my
That's all I'm saying.
Moving on, you can catch me, Defining Duke, on Ultimate again on that episode. You're savage. If you want bidet-like stories, we do have a funny one on Defining Duke that we just recorded with me and Maddie talking about worst situations where you have to go to the bathroom. It was a random fan write-in question during the show. Absolutely. Maddie's story is the funniest thing I've ever heard. Please listen to that episode just for the story alone. And if not, just wait till Sunday. It'd be free 99 on Sunday. So if you don't want to pay for the Patreon.
Don't promote the free version. What is this?
You know, for my homies.
Communist Russia.
Listen.
We're back on Russia again.
Times is tough out here. Not everybody got that Patreon money. So catch me there at obviously IOP this Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern with the Lords. We will have the legendary Danny Pena. We'll pull up. So,
very cool.
Yeah, then,
I saw he just got on G4. So.
Yeah, got on G4. We're going to talk about that, the Game Attack Radio days, all the fun stuff. And, of course, to ease dismay, we got to promote that Last Word podcast. Salute. Got to promote it, man. Got to make sure you tell your friends, like Travis said eloquently, if you're here.
See, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with
you okay with that? Oh, you okay with
You were
Travis?
just like, oh, this is the best podcast. You're literally listening to it. Tell your friends. That's a new twist. I like this.
Okay, that's a new twist? Oh, you like that?
Yeah, if
now?
you're like, hey,
Okay,
tell your friends, do your homework, bring a buddy, send them the link, drop a
There you
like, drop a review on
There you go.
iTunes, subscribe to the
Every week
channels,
you have
all
to-
that stuff.
Every week when we get to this part cog, tell them to not tell their friends. Okay?
Don't tell your friends.
Don't tell you. If the
Don't
first
tell
thing
them.
about the last
Keep it a
word.
secret.
The first
Keep
thing
our
about the last
community
word.
small.
There is no last word.
There's no last word. Like Fight Club. But yeah, that's what I got, man. But man, what's going on with you in the world of streaming and game playing and what's going on, man?
So yeah, kind of trying to find a time to start Guardians of the Galaxy, working on a little bit of content stuff in between. And I think more than anything, trying to figure out what's up with my ISP. But it's like, I've had techs out. They were literally like checked and confirmed. I've had them again. Oh, I had newbie tech Monday morning. Oh, dude.
He was the worst. Did you reboot the router?
No, not even that. We got to the point where I was like, go out to the tap outside and check. Didn't know how to test the throughput speed on his tool. I'm like, what are you doing here? Because this is literally why you're here. Because the speeds are slow. So he was on like week 2. He's like, oh, every job I go to, like this thing doesn't work. I'm like, you need to figure this out.
First
Call
of all,
somebody.
Bad sentence.
Yeah.
When your first sentence is every job I go to.
Yeah.
And you're the tech on assignment.
No. Best part was my upload speed is supposed to be 40. Right now it's probably 0.0008, which is fine. It sucks.
Yeah.
But because I literally watched it drop while I was saying that sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm sure it may sound weird too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the idea is my download is like 900 plus ish, whatever I pay for. My upload speed is 40. This dude had the audacity, and whoever he talked to on the phone was like, he saw 28 on a speed test somewhere, and he's like, oh yeah, that's our highest. I'm like, no, it's not.
No, it's
and he's
not.
like, yeah. I'm like, take a second. I know you're new. Go call a supervisor and check. Walked outside, came back inside. Yeah, I'm wrong. I'm like, I know.
Wow.
I'm like, I know you are. It's like, I've had more people out here. I have a supervisor's cell phone number that I can
Yikes.
literally like, and she deserves like a raise. Like, but no, that was like, I was like, I got newbie guys like, oh God, this is more useless. But they did that. Maintenance is still in there. It's like, I've got to ticket in and stuff like that.
I found your next day job.
What, fixing the internet?
You're going to replace this guy.
It's not going to be hard to do. This dude's going to make it another week and be like, no, I'm sorry. Like, I've been on different jobs, different levels of all things. That's one of those things when a customer says, no, I know this is what I pay for. You better know your stuff or you better shut up and ask. Like, that's a really good way to get a bad review. I'm like, they sent the survey review. I wasn't going to do it because that kid is new and I'm sure he's just happy to have a job, but that's not how you do it. So
I agree.
So yeah, fix my internet, hopefully. Other than that, just kind of hold down the fort down here and try and get things a little squared away. So for me, for you guys, thank you again, Protheon. This was a longer episode. I don't know if I didn't even ask time frames. Hopefully we didn't overstay your welcome, but thank you.
No problem.
So thank you for very much joining us tonight. It was an absolute pleasure to be joined by the Strike Boss, the Tank Master, and of course, community manager of all things Destiny and poorly timed games. So for this episode,
Love you, E.
these two, all the hard times I get, it's so much fun. It's good times though. Wouldn't get the hard times from anybody else though. Gotta be family to give each other a hard time, right?
Exactly.
So for episode number 171, slowly clawing our way up to 200. Thank you guys very much. Protheon, thank you. Travis, thank you. Cognito, thank you all in chat as well who survived through the horrible connections. Hopefully, if you guys listen to this, it's a smooth upload or audio wherever you find this thing. But for this episode, we're going to wrap it up. So it has been
The last word.